back your homes or restore your dead to life.
But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I'm Luke, and we are here doing our episode entitled The Night King Cometh. We are recording this on May 2nd, 2019, and this is Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night. Listen to the Drinks and Knows podcast on Radio Public. It's free, it's easy to use, and it helps listeners like you find and support shows just like this one. When you listen to this show or any of the shows at thepodcastthat.com on Radio Public's Android or iOS app, everyone benefits. So thank you for doing that. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Glenn of House Dog.
Hey, see a dog, send a dog.
What are you drinking, my friend?
Budweiser Discovery Reserve. 'Cause
Discovery-
That's where this story is going.
Yeah, 50 years in the making.
The final frontier.
I'm Glenn Knoll, and I'm going to the moon. And I am also joined here, and I'm introducing for the first time ever, Sly of House McLean.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
What are you drinking?
In honor of where we were all weekend in the eastern part of the United States, Yingling.
Oh,
I bought
leftover
my-
beers.
No, not leftover. These are specialty bought on the way home. I made sure to grab myself a stockpile.
There's no
being
such thing as a
from
leftover.
the
Drive it
eastern
home.
part of the living in the eastern part of the United States. I don't know if Ohio qualifies.
Okay, it's not
it's
sold
technically
west of
Midwest.
Indiana.
The Middle,
So-
the Middle East.
Indiana's the cutoff.
And here in the
Yes.
Middle East of Ohio.
Okay. Okay.
It's a good point, though. It's a good point. And also joining us is Gertie of House Condescension. Abby, welcome back.
Oh, it's good to be here.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking water and a Coke and the very last of a bottle of wine. I was going to open another one, and then I thought, well, that's wasteful. So I'll finish off the sweet muscadine tonight.
There you go. We were working on that last week, right?
I know. I'm afraid it's
Cool.
going to not be so good.
Oh,
We'll see.
it'll go down
Down the hatch.
like cheese. Doesn't sound very appetizing at all.
You rethink that one.
We'll
Yeah.
evaluate along the way. I am also drinking the Budweiser Discovery Reserve. Get some at your local Budweiser store
For a limited time.
for a limited time only. American Red Lager. This show and all of the shows at thepodcastthat.com are produced with the love and support of our wonderful, beautiful, amazing Imaginary Legion patrons. Learn more about our reward tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. We have a couple things to talk about before we even get into this episode, and all four of us made our way to the Middle East of Ohio, as we were just talking about, and we were at Ice and Fire Con. Glenn and I were there last year. All four of us were able to make it this year, and so I'm going to start with Ben. on initial thoughts. How'd it go for you? What'd you think?
It was fun. It was pretty much what I expected. Is real laid back. A lot of very knowledgeable people there. I mean, I know a lot, but I drink more, and that ended up being a problem at times. Uh,
Call
but
of the Wild. That's all we'll say.
Call of the Wild.
Call the Wild, yes. But no, I mean, it was a good time. I'm definitely glad I went for the watch of this episode with the group. That was absolutely the highlight. Getting to watch with 75 to 100 people this episode. It was like kind of like watching Rocky Horror Picture Show with a bunch of people who's gone 20 or 30 times. They know all the bits and pieces and making all the jokes, and it was just it made it so much better, and it was a lot of fun. So I had a good time.
What was your favorite thing? If you had to pick one thing, I guess maybe watching the episode.
The rewatch, yeah, that was my absolute favorite. I did enjoy trivia.
Watch.
But okay, fine, yeah. I did I rewatched the episodes 1 and 2 with the group too.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
Went there,
cool.
But I did watch, the watch with the episode. But I did, and also getting to play trivia with the Lord Commander, A.K. Alicia Kingston, and the Mad Queens. We had a great time with that. So probably definitely those two things were some of the highlights for me.
Awesome. Ab, the other first-time goer, first-time Connor on the wall. What was your overall thought, overall take?
I was a little whelmed is the word Luke used going into it. I was handed a lot of things. I did things wrong. I didn't understand that we were using a couple. Literally, it was just. But then once Luke and Glenn showed up, whew, okay, I can con now.
And I think you lost the whole concept of driving. If I don't recall.
Difficult time staying in your lane, Gertie. Stay in your lane.
It's my fucking road. I can stay wherever I want.
All I know is Abby got there about probably 11 hours earlier than we did. Not completely intentional. We'll get to that. But I remember her just being like, hey, what time are you getting here? She used the word here. And I was like, we're like finishing up packing the truck to go. And the next message I get is, well, I'm already in trouble. I don't know what to do for you, Ab.
Yeah. So I checked in wrong, and then I was looking for LMR. She was nowhere to be found, so I busted in onto a super secret musical rehearsal.
The final dress rehearsal for the musical.
Yeah. Like, bust in, like, I, going in to see something, I don't know, and this guy, very nicely, not rudely at all, he says, can I help you? And at this point, I said, probably not. So, and then I was rescued by Chloe.
This angelic voice from around the door.
She's like, oh, I know her. Abby, you're doing great. Like,
that is the reassurance. That's the best thing that could have happened for Abby right then.
Yeah, and so then I finally met up with LMR. Might be the highlight of my trip. If I have to pick a Connie thing, not really have to. The musical was hilarious. I was a big fan of it. Big fan.
Yeah, that was really fun. What about a non-Connie thing? Because we did a lot of just hanging out stuff too.
I really just enjoyed meeting people that we chat with all the time, or I watch your videos of, like, oh my gosh, you're real. And I just, that's what I enjoyed the most. Not that I did not enjoy the con, but just getting to actually hang out with people from the chat. It was pretty awesome.
Heck yeah. Hung out with LMR pretty much all weekend long.
Yeah, pretty much I attached myself to her. You're not leaving me.
So would you do it again?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Benj?
Probably, but probably not next year. I'll probably choose to do con over this because I want to try to do both, but I can't financially do both. So so I'd probably choose the other one just to give that one a shot first.
Gotcha. Lenny, on the return, anything feel different, about the same? What do you think?
I think the highlight was definitely the ride down.
Oh man, let's have an in-depth, note for note description of what
Luke hammered a nail in the tire just to delay the time it took to get down there. So there's a nail in my tire, and like basically about halfway down, like we started losing air, and we had to stop at like every gas station to air the tire up, and then drive down the road a little bit, and then re-air the tire up, and it was just something else.
Don't forget the tornado warning that we were driving along with.
Forgot about that. you know, it's awesome to drive on the highway in the middle of the night. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. Literal tornado warning. I get that. Ed Gled's like, I can't really see very well. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's literally a tornado warning that just hit us right
We
now.
had
I leave about 10 hours later, and I just straight shot 3 stops
Oh,
just
look
for
at me.
bathroom
Oh,
and
so
beer, and
cool.
just saying.
I saw 6 turkeys there, 1
See?
fox,
How many,
about
how many,
7 gophers.
Gopher, yeah.
How many
I
tiny
think it was the
goats?
same 3. I didn't see any tiny
We
goats.
saw some
That's a shame.
good goats.
I love goats.
Glenn, was there a favorite thing for you this time, other than the trip up, which I know is gonna be hard to beat?
I just like the relaxing. Like you can pretty much do whatever you like want. You don't have to do anything, or you can do everything.
Yeah,
So-
it's kind of show up. There's plenty to do, but you can also do not much.
Nothing, yeah.
I know for me, like, I don't know, the campfires, that's a lot of fun. Like, just kind of like you were saying, just hanging out, getting to know these people that you get to hear their voices on or see them on YouTube videos. And you're literally just sitting there drinking your ass off
Right.
around a fire, talking about God knows what.
Ask them what they think about Matt Damon and stuff like
You
that.
know, you get to meet, Boston Rob, whose real name is Boston Steve, but you get people to try your mead and just love it, which is it's a whole other thing. But yeah, it's a really, really fun time. I know we got some cool things from the vendors as well. Abby may have one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'll let you
I'll
go
grab it.
grab that while I talk about the flask that I got from the same vendor, but not Game of Thrones related. They had other ones that were Game of Thrones, but I got a Mr. Meeseeks Existence is Pain hip flask because why not? And those were from these guys right here. Pavlov's Dogs, Etsy.com/shop/Pavlov's Dogs. Check them out for sure. Abby, show them what you got from these guys.
So I'm gonna
You did like a
Bob.
full demonstration almost.
I know Bob Barker made this real quick here, guys. It's a satchel. You can wear it. Messenger bag, fantastic. All boring. Has a nice little imprint of I drink and I know things. It had a Lannister symbol on it, but there was a fishing pole incident, so that kind of got torn. But it's still great.
No.
Yeah, there was a fishing pole in the car type. I don't know.
Whoops.
Classic fishing pole debacle
You
of
know,
2019.
Yeah, shoot. Now you take your handy little wine bottles, you just shove them right on in,
Damn.
and they slip.
2
and they
wine
fit.
bottle compartments.
And they hold them in securely. And I'm
There's like
trying to not-
elastic straps in there too, right?
so they don't bounce around. Yeah, this is sweet. You have spots for your cell phone and your wine bottle opener. They've thought of everything.
They've thought of everything. They've had wine before. In
They
public.
know-
And good for them.
In public.
In public.
I don't want to be drunk in public.
In public.
I want to be drunk in a bar.
Drunk in a bar.
You threw me into public.
Arrest them.
Another cool thing that I picked up was from Cromwell's Curiosity Shop. Check them out wherever you can. That is not coming through very well. Maybe I'm drunk already. But is this cool chalice thing? Look at this guy. Holds about, I don't know, 5 or 6 ounces, which isn't great for beer, but it is good for...
Because if you set the rest of your beer down, and then you might knock it over and spill. So
You know,
that's exactly what happened.
That is exactly what happened right before we went started. He was like, if you get a full fucking chalice, you could have just, poured the whole beer in. You'd have been fine.
Right. So I want to give a quick shout out to a little bit of swag I got, and this was not from any vendors, but right behind me here, my awesome little brother Luke, for everybody in the show, made us all banners, and we decided to wear them because we saw on Friday night everybody in cosplay and dressed up. We're like, we got nothing. Fuck it, we're wearing capes.
We're wearing
So
capes.
We all caped up and wore them around, and so now it's hanging prominently with the old balloon and the new balloon. So
Abby's got her cape on to demonstrate what we all looked like. I think I had kind of the Ned
Nerd.
Stark popped collar cape going.
yeah, Glenn had the cloak.
Glenn went Little Red Riding Hood for a while.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I know a couple other things that we got were Glenny got a shirt from Sanry. I know Abby got some Sanry stuff as well.
I got the one. Yeah,
He got the
some
North
pretty cool
Remembers.
shirts and stuff like that. And
This was the new one that she came out with this year. It is the Flaming Stag of Baratheon, only subjects and enemies, which is how I feel about everyone here. Everyone is a subject except for Phil H. You're an enemy, my friend.
He's not my
You're not
enemy.
my friend, my friend.
You're not my friend.
You
What'd you
understand?
say, bud?
enemy,
You're not my
friend to
bud
me.
guy. You're not my guy, friend.
Anything else? The musical was really, really funny. They've done 2 acts for it now. Can you guys all think of like the most outstanding line that you can remember?
Yes.
Funny.
Whenever they had basically behind the scenes, they had Tywin. Basically, the whole scene where Tyrion shoots Tywin, but they had it like off screen, and all you can hear is the guy's like, "I'm shitting."
I'm sure.
That was funny.
Abby.
The hand job.
Oh,
when
right.
Ned accepts the hand job, when he takes his hand job, when he,
Wait, so Robert offered Ned the hand job. Ned
Yeah.
accepted Robert's hand job.
his hand job. Yeah.
So fucking funny. So damn funny.
If nothing else would have happened, I would have been happy for the rest of the night. Like that was perfect.
Yeah, that was a great line. They used it like that joke 3 times in a row, and it was
Yes.
awesome. You're like, did he really
It
just say
just-
that? He really just fucking said it again. God damn it.
Just
Ben, favorite thing in the
enhanced it.
musical?
Nothing that stands out that I can recall right at the moment, and I mean, it was it was great. It was funny. It was
You
kind
like
of the
barely woke
very
up.
yeah. I had just gotten
Oh,
there
that's true.
about
Yeah, that's
2
true.
hours before, and then I wake up and they're gone, and the musical's already started.
We were gone
Like,
for
son
like
of a bitch.
3 hours before that, to be fair.
Okay, yeah, fine, but
To be fair,
To be
fair.
To be
fair.
But yeah, I woke up and I'm like, shit. And I look at the time, like, fuck, music starts. I ran in and sat down, and it was funny. There were some great bits. The girl doing Cersei and Tara doing Marjorie, both
Mhm.
were amazing. Actually, everybody in the show was awesome. Great voices, and it was fun to learn that they did that because it was all lip saying,
Mhm.
but they all recorded their stuff themselves,
Pre-recorded
just
everything. Yeah.
pre-recorded. Yeah,
Yep.
it was nice to know that they all did each part themselves.
Yeah. The Shadow Baby was really funny, and
Yeah.
the girl that played Joffrey Baratheon, Daisy, I think her
Oh,
name
yeah.
is,
Same person. That's the same person
as what?
as the Shadow Baby. Joffrey
Well,
was the same. It's
Yeah,
the
that's
Shadow.
fine.
So
My
just saying.
my point being, Daisy,
Easy, guys.
the way she played Joffrey Baratheon, the whole time I couldn't stop thinking about Draco Malfoy from a Harry Potter musical. It was so fucking funny. And I talked to her afterwards, and she hadn't seen it, but she was like, I'm aware of it. It was like, that's
Yeah.
perfect. But really, really funny. Great time. Anything else? I mean, go next year if you can. It's really fun.
No.
On that note, who's got Throne Fantasy at hand that we can pull up and do?
I am pulling it up now.
All right, we need our top 5. There was a lot of points given this episode
There
by
were
a
a
couple
lot
of characters.
of points and
Yeah.
a lot of movement. So in very first, actually we'll go top 5. We'll go 5 down. In 5th place, we got Grandmaster Maester Butt Dan
There you go.
Sidebottom with
Nice job, Grant. Good job.
141,000.4K. In 4th place, Sir Pounce's Revenge, Christy Marie, Chrissy
There you go,
Volstone's
Pounce.
there,
Way to pounce
142.5.
on it.
In 3rd place, House Decker of Brian Decker,
Oh,
143.4.
no, not
Decker?
him.
Decker's up
God
there.
damn
There you
it.
go, Deck.
He was our
In
first
se-
guest on this show ever.
And third.
In 2nd
our
place,
hearts.
Like Winter, I'm Coming. You're welcome with
Is that you?
144,000. That would be me. Yes. 0.4K in 2nd place. And in 1st place, Dracarys by Tamiris Neves with 145.2K.
It's like you never really
Yeah.
you want to just wait in the weeds until the last episode, and then
That's
that's
true.
when you.
That's true. Don't put it
True.
away yet, Benj. We need the bottom 5 as well. We gotta
Bottom
kick
5.
those towards the bottom.
All right. So
I think
bottom
I'm,
5.
I think I'm down there.
So that would start at 43. So number 43 spot, because we have 47 people. It's K86RUY from Marie Hill, who put in our league code with 30,009 K. The Squishers, Monero Robert with 29.8K. Queen Sasa something, Mackenzie L. Burns with 27.8K. Mother of Blankets, Nancy Tockstein with 22.6, and White Lives Matter, Wes Angen with 9.4K.
Man,
He gets the shame bell.
shame.
Milk, shame
Shame.
bell.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Who know? I mean, honestly, that's kind of the thing. Like, you never know. One big episode
never
can
know.
turn the tungsten tide, as they say in
Yep.
darts.
So let's see where the rest of the show is at really quick. Abby is in 29th place with 78K. Luke is in 28th place with 91.5. And I think, Glenn, you're in 6th. I think you're
6th?
close there.
I thought it was in
6 or
like
7.
12th.
Oh, that might be. Yeah,
I
you're
was
in 12. Sorry.
6 last week.
You did
I
my
just
shitty well for the last time.
You're not my shitty well for the last time. 121.8K.
Right,
So
so I'm just
good
waiting in
job,
the
everybody
weeds, you know.
in the chats. Yeah, we got 3 episodes left, but I'm happy with where I'm sitting at the
I
moment.
bet you are. That's gonna
I
be.
bet he is.
Yeah, I bet you
Highlight of
are.
his
The
day.
number 2 seed.
And
First loser bench.
That's fine.
it's better than the last loser, I guess.
In every other league I'm in first place though, except for the overall. Like,
Damn. Nice job. Nice job. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this episode. And this is, again, episode 8 of season 3. It was 96 minutes long. It aired on April 28th, 2019. Directed by Miguel Sapochnik and was written by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Lenny Dog, episode description, please.
Winterfell fights the army of the dead. Arya looks to prove her worth as a fighter. Brienne and Jaime prepare the armies for battle. Arya is desperate to prove her worth as a fighter as the dead draw near.
So, Abby, did
Sorry,
you paste
I-
yours in there, which has always been the best one yet?
Yes, so mine started with Brienne. I thought I put like a, couple.
So the
Spots
one
down
that
till it was clear,
HBO
but-
originally gave was the Winterfell fights the Army of the Dead, and then later on, I found it somewhere else on the. I think it was just the website. It just said it. All it said was Arya looks to prove her worth as a fighter. I never saw the other parts that you had in there with the Jaime and Brienne portion, but
Yeah.
really inconsistent HBO. Come on, guys.
It just shows up on my TV,
Mhm.
so I just write it down.
You're responsible for it from now on.
Okay, I just didn't want to erase what you had written, and you'd be like, "What the fuck? I already did this."
No.
Anyways, got it.
Feel free to erase
Check.
that next time. That's on you.
Okay.
So let's kick off this episode. Opening credits, nothing really new. Benj.
yeah, so new credits. We have Dinklage in the lead title, Last Hearth, Winterfell, and King's Landing. And pretty much exact same from last week.
In the week before, all three.
No, because the week before I had the moving white tiles. This one, they were all solid.
They moved. They moved
Yep.
all. They did the Guess Who thing
they
all
moved.
the way up to Winterfell.
Each time?
Every time.
Okay.
Every time.
All right. I didn't know.
They sound like poker chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
So
fine.
I'm just gonna make an executive decision. We're not gonna talk about any of the characters in the scenes like ahead of time. We're just gonna describe the scenes and not like say, hey, this includes all of these characters because the description kind of takes care of that. We already do things a little bit different because this is such a sequential episode. We are just going chronological, and they're kind of big scenes, about 8 minutes or so of screen time, and we just kind of found a place to segment them as we were going. If you don't like it, blame Glenn and I.
Yeah.
You're off the hook, Benj, but you can read
Hashtag
it.
blame Luke.
That's fine.
Exactly.
I'm good
Exactly.
for it. And you can.
And you can
That's fine.
do that.
All right. So, do you want me to read these, Luke?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay. Final preparations are made in the courtyard. Dragons request a flyby as watchers look on from the walls. Out in the field, groups of soldiers stand at the ready as John and Danny oversee from above.
Yeah, so Glenny, I'm gonna go to you first here.
Okay. Yeah. So we get this thing where everybody's lined up. Everybody looks into the dark abyss. Like for me, like it just seems like it's hard to size up the opponent. And they have this like weird formation, where you had the Dothraki basically as the vanguard, Unsullied covering the rear of like the main gate, I guess. And then on each flank you had on one side the Vale and Oathkeepers, and then the Wildlings and Night's Watch. What do you guys think of the formation?
It's a choice.
It made sense because you have to have the Dothraki in open field. The actions later on didn't quite make total sense, but having them up front being the first wave makes sense because what are you going to do? You're going to have them just hold back and defend the line like the Unsullied? No, they need to be an open rush because that's their strength. So in that aspect, I agree with it. Then the Unsullied being the second line as the defenders, that again, it does make sense because that's their shtick. They stand their ground.
Yeah, but it seemed like they were just like Dothraki up front and then like kind of 3 sections of just like different style fighters and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just seemed kind of weird just to have, because they're, you're gonna have different fighting styles, and one might work over the other. I don't know, but um, I would think just have like a consistent line all the way around.
Abby?
I don't know how to respond to this, but I also thought it was like a little confusing, I guess is the word I would say, like what the what their thinking was for the tactics they were using. But I haven't fought an army of undead people, so I didn't feel fit to judge. But
Mhm.
it didn't make sense to me. Like, and it was really hard to tell where people were. Like, at one point, I thought Brienne was like on a hill, but she wasn't, or she was. I don't really know.
Mhm.
It, even with like the overhead shots, I was still kind of uncertain of what the battle plan really looked like before we got out there.
I overall agree. I don't know if this was the best use of the tools that they had. I feel like I know Glenn and I chatted a bunch on the way driving back, because it was, what else are you gonna talk about for 6.5 hours? This time without stopping to fill up your tire over and over again. Um, I really think the caltrops should have been much further up, and or way more of them. Maybe light some fires way up the fucking
Yeah,
field.
kinda
You know
like-
where they're coming from.
Kind of like you saw Ramsey do with the Battle of the Bastards.
Right. I don't know. My initial thoughts on this whole episode were certainly tainted by the medium that Glenn, Ben, and I watched it up on a projector that was maybe not nearly as bright as it should have been for this episode. This is incredibly dark. The whole episode, especially these big battles, opening scenes, and it was like, hey, what the fuck am I supposed to be looking at? Like, it was just too dark. We couldn't fucking see it. And I think later on I was like, man, this looks like it was a really incredibly expensive episode, especially to make it so dark. Like, what a
Yeah, way to
like
go.
like man, it's really expensive to make it that dark. No, but then like watching it, turn the brightness up on the HD TV, it looks a lot better. I mean, obviously, I didn't think it was going to be ill done. I was pretty impressed with it overall, but the overall setup of it, I still kind of question the military choices. Not that I'm an expert a strategist at all, but we'll talk more about that as we kind of go along. I really thought it was a solid kind of walk around with Sam and Tyrion kind of leading this episode off, just kind of getting a view, one of those walking around this huge castle that they've built, and seeing all of the moving parts of what it takes to get something like this put together. You see Bran and Theon and Alice Karstark heading towards the Godswood. You see Lyanna Mormont getting her people involved, her 13 men or whatever she's got at this point. And yeah, no, I just thought it was a cool opening shot, kind of weaving through, and then you get to see more of the formation stuff. Abby, overall thoughts on this opening scene?
It's an impressive amount of people that they have gathered to fight this. Just the sheer number of different like free folk and people from around Westeros, and we have people from like the amount of people fighting for this, it's very, very impressive.
Mm-hmm. And who's responsible for that?
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
The best politician in this series. Just gonna say.
Unite us. Unite the clans.
Yep.
Benj.
Yeah, so first to your point, Luke, about the darkness and the visuals and everything. Honestly, if you watch it back on a computer screen or an iPad, I've seen people say this, no issues with brightness whatsoever. Because I've done it 3 ways now: first the projector, then on the big screen, then on my laptop. And my laptop came through completely clear. I don't know if it's because it's well backlit or what, but so just if you did have issues with the brightness, I recommend watching it computer screen or iPad. It does make a big difference. You can see everything clearly. But my note to this scene is I liked how there were only 2 lines from named characters in the first like 6 or 7 minutes of the entire episode. It's all build, all walk. The first line was from Lyanna, just basically saying, bar the gate, something along those lines. And the next one is another like 3 minutes before we get Ed, like, fucking took you long enough. And it just, that's telling how much,
Who said bar the gate?
Lyanna Mormont.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She said
so
something about
there were a
like,
couple.
Yeah, it was kinda-
get the lads.
Indistinct.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Talking
was
man.
it was an offside. Like, had I not had I mean, I would have recognized the voice, but
The caps
it,
up.
yeah, but like besides that, there was a couple other lines from Captious Man shouting, whatever, get this, but it
Distant
did say
soldier.
Leanna saying this, yeah.
Grunting.
I
But
believe the first credited quote goes to Wind Whispering.
yes,
Maybe that's later on. That happens
I think
several times in the
yeah, there wind with dragon growls,
yeah, grunting.
getting a
There's a
lot
lot of
one with
grunting.
yeah. Speaking in
Neighing
speaking
hoarsely.
in Dothraki,
Neighing
we get a lot
hoarsely.
of speaking it in
That was the best one.
translations, but we don't get the actual translations of when anything was said. But yeah, no, the visuals were impressive. You could definitely tell they took their time with it. Yeah, it could have been a little bit brighter, sure, but the ambiance and the setting, it made sense. It fit for the long night to come, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the ominousity was well done. So then we roll into everyone get their thoughts on that formations. All right, we roll into the next scene. I'm gonna have Glenn read this one off.
The Red Witch arrives and sets the Dothraki Erex ablaze. Davos allows Mel entry into the castle. Cavalry ride out while catapults are loosed. Cavalry is extinguished.
They've been liquidated. Benj, I'm gonna kick this one off to you first.
Yeah, so the Eric's Ablaze are definitely the feel good moment. You're like, okay, yeah, fuck yeah, that's badass. It's a great visual, and the Stampede with Ghost was awesome. Like I said before, it made sense to put them in the open field. I would have waited till you started to hear the dead coming. Like you said, put some fires out in the middle there. Maybe when they get halfway, let them go. Don't make them cross the entire fucking field to the wall, but it did make sense on a production side to me to get rid of the Dothraki up front, because why deal with 10,000 horses, or quote unquote having to have 10,000 horses and choreograph all that. Let's just wipe them out, wipe them out. That'll build Danny's storyline of, hey, she lost that army, that's gonna hurt, but wipe them all out, and now we don't have to deal with that shit. And watching back is like, okay, that definitely made sense. But then it's like, where's Ghost? We saw Jorah come back. Where the fuck's Ghost? I think we did see him later on, though, so I was like, okay,
Ghost,
that's fine.
Well,
he's in the
for
next
the
trailer.
at
Yeah.
second 14, as I found out in a in a live
Yeah.
stream after, because people kept asking, and somebody's like, second. I don't really know what second it was, but it was hilarious. It was very good.
Ab,
Sorry.
thought on
Um,
sequence of scenes.
I really dislike the fact that Benji probably pointed out the real reason why they killed him off, because who doesn't love watching horses run? I do. Like he said, that shot, oh, it's just so pretty to me. And you just see like the power and the vastness of how many there are. I loved that. I was all about it.
That overhead view of it, where it does look like
Yes.
little fire dots or
Yeah.
something like that.
Or as you see like the hooves like hitting, just like the power of them. Oh, I just love it. Love to watch a horse run. Kentucky Derby.
Especially
Here I
with
come.
the dog right next to him.
Yeah, right?
Horses
That's
and
cool.
dogs.
Horses and dogs
running together.
I'm here for it.
I do have a question about the fact that we were going to send the Dothraki out there without something that would actually kill the whites.
Right. And the initial plan is let's just send him out there.
See what happens.
Like,
That's
what
it.
the fuck? Like, whose plan was that? Was stupid.
They were
Thank
clearly
God Mel
not-
showed up.
Yeah. Right.
And then I'm like, okay, so only the Dothraki, like they were already going to send them out first waves, sacrificial hams all the way there, because you can't even kill anything. So I don't know, round them up, giddy up, like cowboy, let's go. No, this are fucking cattle.
At the same time, though, they were fighting. Most of those were made up of whites, I guess. And we saw, like, even when the Jon Snow and the when all the boys kind of went up to capture the White Walker, they were just using regular swords and shit like that. So
They were using some dragonglass daggers, I thought.
yeah, but not
And
everybody.
his
They were
blazing
using they had
sword.
the hammer.
The hammer. You could at least immobilize them. I don't
Right,
think it
I
really
mean-
kills them.
Yeah.
You could at least do some cutting down
some
to
kind of
size.
damage, yeah.
But
So we
yeah, no,
don't
that's a good
have-
question I have. But like, what
Like,
was the
what-
original thought?
And then, so if they don't have like dragon glass or Valyrian steel or flaming weapons, do none of the Unsullied either? Like these poor bastards. We couldn't put like, I don't really know if they do or not.
They might have like kind of the staffs with the
The
dragon.
tips.
That's
glass
what I was
tips.
thinking.
Dragon
Maybe they have
tips.
So,
The
but
little
if
walking canes that Theon has later.
yeah, but like like I'm like, who else? Mel could have gone around and ablazed everybody's weapons,
I thought
but
that's what was going to
whatever.
happen. Whenever she walks to Grey Worm, right after, I was like, okay, she's going to grab his
All right, you got
spear,
your
and they're
guys'
going to set
turn.
all of those ablaze. Even those,
Yeah.
we're assuming those are dragon glass now, but like I thought, like okay, and like you see like Jamie and Brienne kind of looking on. You see Hounded Barrett kind of looking. I was like, oh, everyone's gonna get it. Like this is gonna be cool. Like
Yeah.
let's all be Barrack Dondarrion for a little while.
I love how
That
Jorah's holding his sword like,
No,
Do
you're
they
good.
I'm
know
right
each
here.
other?
Well, I think
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever crossed in show wise.
No,
Never
because
been
she
done the
was she
show.
was gone from Dragonstone before he got there.
Yeah.
When Danny was there.
Okay.
So I don't think they've had any interactions.
I think the sole purpose of her lighting up these Aerox were just to give them some kind of light, and
Light up the
that was
thing.
it.
I would think this was one of the first things we could see when they went to these big pictures on the projector. It was like, oh, there they are. They're helping us, the watcher, out because we can't see anything. And I think that's kind of my problem with some of this as well. Again, not a war strategy expert, but you're playing defense. You're on defense here. Why are you setting your cavalry out there? Why are you throwing them out? You have no idea what their army looks like. You can't see them. That's the whole point.
Right, size them up a bit.
Right. Hold on to that. Let them come to you. They're there. You're here. They want to be here. Let them come to you. Seems like a decent idea to me. And then you take your cavalry and fucking flank them. You have them set on the sides and you hammer them. It's a pretty common thing, I think.
Hammer 'em.
I mean, especially if you are defending a siege and you're going to meet them out front like this. One, maybe man the walls. I don't know. A little bit sooner, but don't throw your. It was a complete sacrifice, and just really questionable. That's kind of my main takeaway from this part. Glenny.
Yeah, so the thing I liked about this set of sequence of scenes, because like Mel returns, and I didn't really see that. I guess it makes sense that she would come and show up during the battle, but it was like you just see somebody riding a horse, like just to kick off, and then like she reveals herself, and you're like, oh shit, like she's
And then
back,
she shows up. She reveals herself, and then she shows up.
and then she shows up, but and then she lights the swords and stuff like that, and like you're just kind of thinking like, oh, she's like she knew that she was going to be back for this moment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for this battle.
I certainly thought she was going to be coming back. I didn't think she was going to be here for this because I thought it would be where they retreat to after
Look
this.
to the east.
When,
Like,
I
yeah.
liked that Davos was the one that like made the call, like let her in,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
regardless if he wants to kill her or not.
Yeah, and
She's living.
he had one of those looks like, I'm gonna have to kill her, or you can call me a liar. And then she's like, well, easy, Gus. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
dead before the dawn, so don't even worry about it.
Stay in your lane, Gertie.
Stay in your lane, Gertie, is what she said.
Yeah, I was expecting a look to the east on the fourth day for Mel kind of thing. You know, the dawn of the first day or fourth day, kind of
It's
Gandalf
me,
style.
Me,
I'm
Gandalf Gumby.
here, Gandalf Gumby.
Ab, you got anything else here?
Nope, just thanks for setting us ablaze, so we had some type of chance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The vantage point of the dragons looks cool. I mean, at least they can kind of tell. Now, thanks, Mel. You know, at least the dragons up top can see what's going on too.
They got thwomped.
They went out there. They got thwomped. And little did they know, they did. So let's go ahead and roll into our next scene. Abby, I'm going to come to you on this description.
The dead hit the front lines on every front. Danny and John bring in the Air Force. John makes dive for a line of White Walkers at the edge of the forest and is interrupted by an ice storm. Arya arms Sansa and orders her to the crypts. Storm reaches the castle, and as fighting continues in the field, Ed perishes.
And nourishment.
Dang.
Abby, I'm going to have you kick this one off too with your thought here.
I think the coloring here on the dragons, it's this specific shot because I don't think they're in the weather storm or whatever yet. It's this like dark coloration, and you see Drogon in this like dark burgundy, almost like winey red. It's so beautiful. And then we get he can manipulate the weather. Like, what the fuck? That's a thing too. I didn't know about this.
A rain dance. Have you ever heard of them?
Have they
Yeah,
ever used the line in the show that they always questioned it, they weren't sure if the cold brought the others or the others brought the cold. So this is
Right.
making it very literal, at least in the show for the White Walkers, that they have the ability to manipulate.
It's like a Coors Light commercial or something like
right? It may not taste good,
that.
but it's
Silver bullet.
cold.
And the mountains are blue whenever they're cold.
It's really cold. Don't forget, Glenn. It's cold. Yeah. the colors spot on. It very dark, but the times that they are lit up, like you can like it seems very realistic that it has that kind of iridescence to it at times. Really neat stuff. Benj.
Yeah,
okay.
so I know I was getting there, and I was taking a deep breath in. So yeah, I like how they brought in. I was like, just before I hit the unmute, so I don't do that over the mic. Anyway, I like how they brought the fact that the Night King doesn't bring the storm; the Night King is the storm. It's I know that was kind of a saying that was made, and this demonstrated that it was very powerful. Seeing those dark clouds move, the kind of wall of ice and snow and the wet water, coming through or the wet weather or whatever. I'm teasing you. I'm just
What?
Something Kevin said. He's like, "Well, what did Kev say? Did the weather storm have wet water?" And so
It just was over my head. I was like, this is a thing. What the fuck? How do we beat this? We don't.
yeah,
So-
yeah, no,
Until you
absolutely.
do.
It's
But you do.
And you
Just wait
do.
for it.
Until you do.
Yeah. And then the next part of this is Arya arming Sansa, and basically she's like, "I don't know how to use this. Stick with pointy end." And it was just kind of just real nice callback, and we get a lot of that this episode, which I really enjoyed. So, but yeah, it was the first of the many callbacks we get, and it was well placed and done.
Yeah, so I don't know what I was thinking about. I had a note that kind of went into the last note, but anyways, like you see the armies collide, but like at this point they still haven't really seen. They saw the Dothraki go out and just get totally thwomped, if you will, pummeled, pulverized, extinguished,
liquidated,
Exterminated.
more than decimated, because there's not even a 10th left.
Dothraki are definitely on the endangered species
They
list
got their
at
ass
this point.
kicked.
It was a real ouchie bro.
Anyways, like they still haven't seen, what the fuck. A lot of people haven't seen Whites. Only like probably the main characters and kind of the front lines have seen. But at any rate, they still don't know what the fuck. They just kind of hear something coming at them in high volume, and they're just kind of like, it's one of those kind of shit your pants moments.
Yeah.
If you're on one of those front lines and you're like, everyone's just kind of stand your ground and stuff.
And they do. I know when we were watching it, and when that first wave comes and hits basically on all fronts or whatever, that sound that you were talking about, that wave of, I want to say humanity, but lack of humanity in this case, technically. I was just like, it's gonna be fucking ice spiders. It's gonna be fucking ice spiders. It's gonna be fucking ice spiders. And it sounded kind of spidery as it was coming in, and then it just
spiders.
They're as big as fucking hounds. I was just, man, they have to, right? This is like the chance to do it. You gotta fucking do it. They didn't.
Missed opportunities.
Opportunity lost.
Game
but
of
when that first wave does come in, and you see it, they're like piled. Like the front line of theirs is like three bodies
like a
deep.
Wave.
Like
yeah, just.
It's not like, oh, they're all just like running behind each other like in formation. They're just clamoring over each other to get there.
One by one.
1 million by 1 million. Another thing that happened in this kind of segment here, Sansa respecting Arya's command a bit. Like whenever Arya's like, "Take this, get the fuck down to the crypts. You're done here. Like you don't need to be here. Like you're good. Take this." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do with it." And then you have the really, super cheesy, sticking with the pointy end. I know that got a big response in the room that we were watching it in. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's super cheesy. I know why they're doing it. It's fine.
Yeah. No rebuttal by Sansa. think that was because she just
Yeah.
knows that, yeah,
Well-
she's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know now why they were doing it. At the time, it was like, okay, I mean,
We're gonna get
it was nice
swamped.
callbacks, but like this whole episode was a build of showing Arya's training.
Prowess.
Yeah,
Or
and
badassery.
yeah, and it's like real subtle hints, but it's feel good moments. But each one was one to, but it's subtly done kind of thing until the
Except
very
for
end.
that one.
Well, no, but they're all right on the nose, but you forget there's so much going on, you kind of forget about them. You're just thinking, okay, this is just a cool callback. This is a cool callback. And if you're not super paying attention or super thinking about it, the final thing is it
Does
builds
anyone
up
ever
to.
not super think about these things when they're watching them? That's all I do. It took
No,
each one of them took me out of it just enough, and I was like, okay, I'm still watching a show. Like I never really got, especially the first
Oh.
time. On rewatches, I was aware of it, so it didn't take me out of it. But each one of those took me out of it. It was like, I get it. I'm actually okay with it, but I'm thinking about it now. Like it took me away from it each time.
And me, I always watch the first time just as a show fan, not trying to dissect or anything, just enjoy it. And so
There's no such thing as enjoyment. All analysis.
That's-
We're not here to
Here are
enjoy
my
this.
first time through notes. Like,
You will not enjoy this. This will not be over
Jeez.
soon. Thanks, 300. Lena Headey scene. It's rape. Kind of along in this too, there's a lot of good like one-on-one kind of fighting scenes, right? With a bunch of named characters and a bunch of like save me's. Like Brienne kind of gets one, Jamie kind of gets one, Sam gets one, Ed doesn't. But good on him. He went out like a total fucking bamf, right? I mean, saves Sam and gets
to get up.
Get slaughtered.
a 3/4 spear through the back of the head. We didn't get it all sword coming all the way out like usual, but I think the message was sent that that's what happened to him.
It's like amazing how
Yeah.
these they're almost like reminiscent of like zombies, but they have like perfect sword skills and know where to like stab somebody.
Right. Yeah.
They have weapons? Like, I don't know if I noticed that last time.
Like,
Obviously, this time
I
they have
guess
fucking weapons.
yeah, they're
Mhm.
just
yeah.
soldiers who died north of the wall before, and they got to obtain their weapons
Mhm.
once again.
Well, I mean, they have all this metal from the chains that they melted down after Hard Home Depot. So,
Right.
but yeah, I certainly had many questions on the sentience of them again, kind of as we were going. It's hard not to think of them as mindless zombies, even when they're doing this, but they're
But
not.
they're not.
But at times they are, but they're not. But it seems a little inconsistent at times. That's kind of all I'll say about it.
It's magic.
And it is.
It is.
So, any final thoughts here? No. All right. Here's one for Ed. Cheers to Ed. Edison Toilet. All right. Next scene, we have Sansa arriving in the crypts. Low visibility in the ice storm causes a friendly dragon T-bone, which is the culinary way of describing a dragon-on-dragon accident. The living make their retreat from the field while Unsullied hold the line. Attempts are made to light the trench, and Grey Worm enlists the Red Witch. Venge kicks off.
So the dragon visuals, even in the storm, are impressive. It was annoying at times because it felt like they were kind of trying to hide some of the stuff, but it was very good, especially once they hit the clearings and the open spots. Great, almost Batman-esque style of flying up in front of the moon. I was waiting for the to fly up for the bat signal and come back down kind of thing from that one shot above the clouds. There were still a lot of Unsullied on the other side of those trenches when Grey Worm pulled that lever.
Absolutely.
When he pulled the ripcord, and I get it, that's their job. They're there to hold the line, but it's like probably could have let a few more slip around before you fully let them go.
So this is
but
before the trench is actually lit. This is them trying to light it still.
this is when Lyanna opens the gates and Jaime and Brienne are saying go 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 go, and Grey Worm's like,
Oh, he pulls the
exhausted.
bridge thing.
He pulls the bridge,
Yeah.
yeah, because there was like at that part, there's only one way around the trenches, but we'll see later that that's not right. But but like he's standing there, and there's still a good 3 lines of Unsullied in front, and he pulls the cord and breaks the bridge. So now he just basically sacrificed his men to the whites, at that moment. It's like, might have been able to pull up, a few more across, but I get it. I wasn't, in the battle, so I can't really say,
And
how close they were. But
that bridge or whatever looked a lot better this episode than it did last episode, when it was just like a little
That
when
was
they
still
were
the
testing.
prototype.
prototype.
That
That
was
rough-
early
rough
renditions. Early renditions. Glennie, what do you think of this portion?
Yeah, so this is like one of those first instances that you just have a kind of a lull in the action, and maybe just it just seemed like everyone's like, oh, retreat, and then you like look up and like the Unsullied are still in formation, like
3
reforming,
brigades deep.
and there's nobody really fighting them in the front. And maybe we're talking, maybe it's just because of the dragon fire that got a lot of them, or something like that, kind of
wiping out
headed a lot of those whites off at the pass. But there's just like nobody, and then like you see these people retreat, and then there's whites that were behind them that they're like on the way back, that they're
It's like, wait,
swinging and hitting.
Yeah.
And, I don't. It's something to nitpick about, but otherwise I just didn't really get like the whole lull in the action.
Yeah, I know Abby kind of touched on it a little bit before, of some of the timing and sequencing of this. I think just the way it's edited together don't make sense. They just don't. Where's the front line? Like what you were talking about. Like we see, hand-to-hand combat with people that are already like seem to have been gone through the gate. Like who the fuck are they fighting? How are there whites there? Like when we see 3 fucking battalions full,
some kind of video game glitch.
And then you see like the Unsullied, and like the visuals were awesome. Like they looked cool,
right?
But like some of it just funnily doesn't make sense. You see like the Unsullied, like they're like taking like their step back as a unit or whatever, and there's still like one person fighting at the front of the line, and there's like no dead bodies piled up in front of the line either, that they're like clearly holding that line.
Yeah.
Obviously they are, but it just seems choppy. I don't know. Bench?
Well, I just had a quick production note. I don't know if you were doing the screenshots or anything.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, because it's
I'm
like
doing them.
okay.
They're dark.
On my screen, they're
They're
okay,
very
yeah,
dark.
very very dark. So that's why. Okay, I
This
apologize.
is the. It's hard to tell. It's dark.
Gotcha. Okay, I just saw with the chat in front of it, just couldn't see. Okay, that's fine. Just making sure. That's all. Sorry.
All right. Abby.
So when the Unsullied do their they call it protecting the retreat, and you do see like them step away, and you see some people file in, and then they step back up to each other. That was perfect.
Like a zipper.
They were all in time. Like it was really cool, and I liked the way that almost like when you're.
No, please don't.
But I liked the way the idea of, keep the line in front like solid, let them retreat through the second line, make a hole through that, close the second line, make a hole through the third line. So even if somebody like gets through, it's harder. They don't have a clear shot right into the castle. I thought that was very tactically like genius.
Tactically delicious.
And it was fun to watch. Like when they all moved forward, I was like, "Ooh, that's a good idea. I like that." And I also, my last note on this is, I don't like retreat. I don't think winners retreat. I think winners make a tactical repositioning. So
winners want the ball when the game is on the line.
I don't really know. Oh, winners want the ball. I thought you said, "Where is the ball?" I'm like,
Where's
probably
the
on the
ball?
bocce ball court or field.
Any field can be a bocce ball field if you have the balls.
Yep, exactly.
that's true, Glenn. Any field can be a bocce ball field if you have the balls.
I said winners want the ball when the game is on the line, which is a famous quote by Coach Jimmy McGinty in the movie Replacements. It's like 4th and 30, and like 2 seconds on the clock, and he checks into like a handoff, and the coach is like, "What the hell are you doing? We had like a Hail Mary called," and he's like, "I read blitz." Even though it's like, I don't know, like 2 seconds left in the game, and it's your only shot. Whatever.
So Abby, you said you don't like retreats, right? But do you like Rice Krispie retreats?
Yeah, I do.
Those are pretty yummy.
Drizzle with some chocolate. That's my jam, yo. Oh, you
Yumbo
know what's even
Tumbo.
better? Fruity Pebble treats. That's
Oh,
where it's
Retreats.
at.
Fruity
Retreat.
Pebble crispy retreats.
Yes. You gotta call them Fruity Pebble tactical repositionings.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
fair. Tactical repositionings, taking the higher ground. Fruity Pebbles.
Protect the
Tactical
fallback. That's all you gotta say. Protect the fallback.
We're just repositioning to have the upper hand.
They're just a bunch of Fallout boys.
You can't ever accept defeat.
Until you do.
Winners never.
All right. Any final thoughts on this? We see Grey Worm kind of seeing the redwood. She's like, "Brilliant! I have an idea."
I just saw you do this. Can you do it again?
How many shotgun shells do we have in this fire chamber?
Sometimes lightning strikes twice.
I gotta try. He was looking pretty worried too, right? Grey Worm, as he's like kind of in the gate looking around, he's like catching his breath, which, I mean, yeah, he's working his ass off, but it looked more like fear too, which is fine. We know that he has fear. He blamed Missandei for that. Dick,
Yeah.
blaming her for that. But it kind of shows up here. He still, kind of recuperates real quick and gets the job done. So Benj, why don't you read off our next scene for us?
Yeah, so Tyrion ponders away the brain trust can help. Sansa and Tyrion reminisce on their marriage. Okay. Bran gives Theon words of encouragement before ravening away from the castle. Location of the Night King is revealed. He instructs the Whites to create a body bridge over the trench fire.
Glenny, kick us off.
Yeah, so I think a lot of guff was given towards like Tyrion and Sansa for not really doing anything, just kind of wasting away in the crypts while whole thing is going down. But I think like the people around them like see them as political advisors and assets to the big picture. So they see the need to keep them alive, and it's very like the polar opposite of like whenever Joffrey was in the Battle of the Blackwater, and everybody was like, "Well, you got to be out there because you're talking a big fucking game, and like you need to get out there and be the face of the army,
Franchise.
just to get everybody to rally around you." So it's kind of a totally different thing of based on their skills or what they talk about is what people view them as where you need to be during this whole thing.
And right along with that, I don't think Tyrion's wrong either, though, of like, if they can get into a place that they can kind of oversee things, they might see things differently, and at least have a little bit more brain power behind what's going on, as opposed to just this brute force. Let's just try to, keep the wall and hold that. I think Sansa makes a good point too of, well, we're kind of past that point,
there's nothing heroic we can do besides sit here.
Right. And this doesn't seem to be holding up quite as well as, say, like the Red Keep at King's Landing, like whenever he was dealing with Blackwater Bay. Like, it seemed like he was in a much safer position than if he was out on the walls here. Like, there's no great high ground here compared to that setup.
And to that sentiment, he was kind of forced into doing something about even in that one, was it the Whispering Woods, or kind of that double tiered battle where they captured Jaime. He got knocked out, but he was kind of forced to lead the troops.
Mountain clans.
Yeah.
I also think that just going out there, maybe not Tyrion. I mean, he would do just as well as Sam, in my opinion. But Sansa or some of the other women, you become not a cat, like, fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? People then become like trying to save you. So you have not
Gotcha.
helped a liability. You become a liability out there for them, because you don't have your husband, your sister, your brother,
the perceived damsel.
Right. Like, are now like, shit, they're out here. I got to watch them, and not, I guess, 100% on, the warriors next to them. Not that, it's just girls, but anybody who you feel that family connection to or love connection to, like, they need protection, children, It's in a lot of humans, and you're gonna protect them. We see that later on with the Hound and Jorah with Danny. Like, you're just gonna do it. So if you have all those people out there just because they feel obligated to do their part, it's just a liability and just a distraction.
Benj.
Yeah. So I thought it was a very cute scene between Tyrion and Sansa. I have Danny there. I meant Sansa and Tyrion. You were we should have stayed married. You were the best of them. That's a terrifying thought. Just from Tyrion on his end. I have heard people mention how Sansa has turned from the uh gentle mother style to more of the Cersei style of kind of queen bee role in the crypts, which is fitting. She learned from her, and sometimes you need that strong figurehead to help. She's just not the drunken bitch that Cersei was. She was just kind of speaking the truth to Tyrion. Uh, and then the last part of that scene, I'm kind of going to jump ahead when the whites start kind of body bridging over the fire. So now there's gaps in the caltrops. I was kind of mentioning this before. I thought it was just the one bridge, but now there's multiple spots where they could body themselves and put out the flames. That just didn't make sense to me.
I
Looks
don't
like
think the trench is wide enough. I think that a body could fit across. If you have a 6 foot tall guy
yeah,
with his
no,
hands
I'm
out,
not.
they
Yeah,
don't need bridges because he can reach both sides. So he's just
but
going
I'm
over
not
there
talking about.
grabbing.
I'm talking about the caltrops, not fully like being gaps in the caltrops themselves to where they can just
They
lay
were. I mean,
down.
it was like a jungle gym trying to get through those, though. I mean, it
But
was.
not where the bodies were laying down. That's what I'm saying. There was gaps
Oh,
Oh,
in the
yeah,
bot, like
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's
yeah, okay, sorry, yeah.
That's all.
that's the next scene, right?
Well, no, it's the very end of this one. It's the where they start. He basically sends word
Oh, yeah,
down
yeah,
to
yeah.
start making the body bridge, and so that watching that back a couple times, I'm like, that doesn't. Why would you not just make caltrops all the way across? Because that
Hmm.
was stopping them. It was,
Well, they
causing.
could also be beyond the caltrops. The trenches behind the caltrops. They could have
The,
worked their way past that.
this is the one this is the caltrop on fire trench. It's all one trench, all with caltrops,
Okay.
but
Either
apparently there's
way,
gaps.
again,
Yeah,
sequentially, a lot of this doesn't make a lot of sense.
I got you. I know. I'm just so that was one little nitpick that I had.
Pick your nits somewhere else. No, it's completely valid. Completely valid. Um, so there's another part of this scene where Bran acknowledges Theon on being home. He's like, because Theon tries to essentially apologize for all the terrible things he did, and Bran's like, dude, if you wouldn't have done those things, you wouldn't be here now.
If you wouldn't have got your dick cut off, you would not be here.
You
right
wouldn't be welcome back, is what he's saying. No, he's basically saying, everything you did led you to where you're now. It's the classic three-eyed raven response right now. It's everything is linear
Right.
to this point. You can't
Almost
talk about like
Thank you for betraying Rob and burning Winterfell and having us escape and shit like that just because I got to go and be the three-eyed raven and you got to go and
I don't think it's that. I don't think he's saying thank you for doing these terrible
he's
things.
not saying it, but it's almost
it's
it
implied.
feels like it. Yeah,
I don't know. I take it as he's emotionless about it because it doesn't matter, is his point. Like, these things are gonna happen. That you can't change the way it's gonna happen. You play your part and you do it, but it's all set and you're going through these, and you can't go back and like feel. He doesn't understand the concept of regret because it just always has been that, and that's what we learned with. That's what he learned with seeing Hodor. He couldn't go and have done anything to change Hodor's, outcome.
it's all part of fate.
It was
is what you're saying.
I think that's kind of the way it seems to work here. There's one timeline. It's just going to keep going, and that's about what it is. But he still gives Theon, a bit of confidence. He says this is your home kind of thing, and I'm glad you were able to be here. And then he flies off. Right? He's like,
I gotta go now.
I'm gonna go now.
I'm gonna go get a hot pretzel.
and he skin changes into his ravens and kind of reveals the location of the Night King to us, the Watcher, at this point, and then flies off past him, which we'll talk about another time, as to where he might have been going and where he was the rest of this episode, pretty much. But cool scene. Theon fucking killing it. Just good episode for him overall. I'll just go with that. But everyone good on this scene here?
Not me.
Abby?
Hello.
That's why I'm asking the goddamn question.
So I really enjoyed Down in the Crypts when Sansa says to Tyrion, like, it'll never work between
So good.
us. Our differences and loyalties to the Dragon Queen. If she wasn't here and Missandei just, woman's up, and she's like, right, yes, without the Dragon Queen, there'd be no problem at all because we'd all be fucking dead. Don't you talk about my girl like that. Like, I'm here and I'm listening, and you ain't gonna run your mouth with me down here. Not gonna fly. I love it. You always have to have your girls back.
Mhm.
Like, I Masandi with 10,000 points.
Did you get extra points for her in Throne Fantasy for that, or
I mean, I don't know, but I should
Probably,
have for
probably
sure.
not. I don't know.
you probably got a what do they call them,
Like
a
a 10 or 50 point snarky, like
snarky
snark remark.
insult or something?
I don't really know
remark.
what I have her picked for because I don't know if I picked her in like the
Probably a
regular thing.
squire, I think, was the only thing you could pick her as.
No,
if I
I
remember
picked her
correctly.
as sitting on the Iron Throne at the end. I know I did
Fair
that.
choice. Fair
That-
choice.
That's it is going to happen.
It's a bold move.
Mark me.
Well, let's see. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it'll pay off.
He will not be able to see. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, and
I like that too.
I do agree with you as much as the Danny stuff. I did like that Missandei sticking up for her girl because you know what? Yeah, she's everybody else down there are Winterfell or Northern folk for the most part, and Missandei's like, yeah, fuck off. Just without her, you're all dead. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
And I'm not even mad like at Sansa. I'm not even going to play the game of which girl I like better. I just liked the fact that Masandi is clearly team Danny, and hey, you ain't gonna do that with me around.
Mhm.
You ain't gonna do it.
Not gonna die.
Not gonna do it.
Got
You
my
ain't gonna
night
do it.
Missandei goggles.
One bit prudent. It one bit prudent.
Wouldn't be prudent. All right, Glenny, take us into the next scene.
The walls are manned. John takes off after NK. Dead scale the walls. Arya enters the fray while Sandor takes a time out. Before being encouraged by Baddock, the little bear trades an eye for an eye with a giant white. There is a dance between dem dragons.
Gertie, the one without a note.
I am. So you're gonna go with me first.
Of course I am.
Yeah,
Great.
think of something.
So I'll just go to my overall note that could just fit it anywhere. My anxiety here is worse than watching hockey, which means that I'm probably 134 beats a minute for sure. Like, my doctors are worried for sure. It's too much. There's too much going on. Yeah, my notes end there. I was gonna listen to you and then think of something to say.
Well, we'll come
So
back to
carry
you.
on. Thanks.
Glenny?
I think the dragons look in the moonlight look pretty dope here. I don't know if you got a screenshot of that, but
Yeah, there is.
they look pretty cool.
Coming up right around here.
It probably is the clearest picture.
It's like,
of the-
yeah, kind of like over the clouds almost,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of that area
That Aladdin
with
shot.
like, yeah, you could just kind of see the moon and like reflecting off the clouds, and looks pretty neat. And just like the dragons just kind of sitting there, kind of stationary flying.
Mm-hmm. Kind of hummingbirding it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Bench?
Yeah,
Humming dragon.
So, but my note kind of goes into once they're over the walls, and the Hound kind of fucks off for a bit with some PTSD going on, which totally understandable. But he's like, Barrett called him out, like, "Come on, we gotta fight, gotta fight." He's like, "They're fucking death. You can't beat death." And of course, Barrett looks over and says, "Tell that to her." And fucking, I shout out to Maisie Williams. She put in some damn work for this episode. Like, training wise, every move seemed fluid. It was well done, well performed. Like, all of her actions felt like how you would really feel in a fight. So it was very, very well done between her and all the stuntmen that she worked with and everything. So shout out to her. And I want to give respect to Bella Ramsey, the actress who played Lyanna Mormont. She went from literally a one scene character. That was all she was meant for. But because the writers and the producers fell in love with her, she became Lyanna Mormont, like became this character, and she deserved this death. And as much as Felicia in the chat did Lyanna for other reasons, I give her full credit because she earned that spot to take down. I'm calling him Tun Tun, One's nephew, because we didn't get a name for the giant. But she took down Tun Tun in a badass moment, and it was the way the little bear deserved to go out.
What if that was the giant that Tormund Giantsbane killed?
And slept with the wife.
Yeah.
Yummy.
When he was little, and
The
then he got
plot
killed again by a
thickens.
little girl. That'd be pretty awesome, right?
It would be, as they say, pretty awesome.
I do have a thought. Can I say it now? Thanks. I'll
No.
just take that as a yes. So yes, my very, very intellectual thought here is what Benji was talking about, where Sandor is kind of not cool with fighting right now, and we hear that, tell that to that girl. And all I thought in my head was, what do we want? A girl worth fighting for.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So Arya, yep, that's his girl worth fighting for. And, Mulan. So
And
check
Mulan.
that off the box for the
Arya
day.
and Mulan,
Second best Disney movie.
Watch your mouth. I'll tell you, Eliana from Girls Gone Canon and I bonded over Mulan. So you just stop talking trash.
I'm a Hercules guy.
Hercules is a
That's
fucking
a good
phenomenal
call.
movie.
She's no Ariel, so.
Call IXII.
Call IXII. Ah, what a great movie.
Jeepers,
That's 911 in
You're
Roman numerals.
strong. Jeepers, mister. I love Hercules too. Go with that one.
Benj, got anything else?
Yep, that was about it. I went through my whole spiel.
Main thing that I had here was when we start seeing them scale the walls, right? We see those logs that have the dragon glass kind of jutting out of them, hanging down off the walls.
The pop rocks.
The pop rock logs, pop rock and log it, I guess. And like all of, I don't know if there's a photo of it or not, but as they're scaling the walls, you can see they're clearly like veering off to go between those. They needed more of those fucking logs. They never like seemed to figure out how to get up around those specifically. Just saying, another one of the defenses that I know they had limited time.
Yeah, let's play Monday morning quarterback.
But it was very
we should have had
effective.
more of those.
Would
have been nice.
It's Thursday night quarterback, technically. But yeah, I mean, it was a very effective thing that I think there should have been more of. I was excited about those. And I was actually really surprised that they didn't do anything like they had like that scythe on the big
Right.
wall.
So just like more of them.
Just more of them would have been it. Like,
Yeah, and one note I did have, going to the wall stuff, wouldn't it make more sense to put Sam up on the parapets with the archers?
Traps.
Like, give him a crossbow. We've seen him use a crossbow before, or at least load crossbows. Put him up there.
that's true. When you mean when Pip got killed? Yeah, that worked out well.
Pip.
Yeah, that wasn't Sam's fault, though.
If you loaded him quicker, just saying.
It's true.
No, that was kind of my only thing here. A lot of good character moments. This is a lot of the quick fighting scenes with our named characters again. This Dance of the Dragon was kind of neat. The fire underneath the belly was kind of like, that's got to be doing some damage, right? I mean, I know they're pretty well grown, and in dragon fights, it's really more of the claws and teeth that end up doing more damage than trying to burn the thick scales. Read Fire and Blood for more on that. And we know that in show, Targaryens are fucking fireproof for the most part. At least Dany is. Looks like a crescent moon. Is that a waning gibbous or a waning crescent? But the visuals certainly really, really cool. And whenever you see that big, because this is when Drogon comes and grabs onto Viserion, right? There's some damage given back and forth, and I think you also see Rhaegal get a huge claw mark kind of across his chest, and it just like the gore level was pretty decent for like, oh, they're like indestructible. It's like, no, not really. Like they took some fucking damage here. All three of them did. Just a strong battle in the cloud. Anything else? Abby, you got any more notes that you're coming up with on the spot?
I'm just really getting to this Disney chat we got going on in the chat, and
like some Lilo and Stitch.
Disney chat we got going on.
Yeah,
Disney
and I got the Robin Hood.
Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest.
Gotta figure out what the other one's got to say. All right.
Ooga-la-la, golly, what a day.
See? Everybody will have that in their head. Catchiest tune.
All right, Ab, instead of being so catchy, tell us about the next scene.
Well, I hope I'm at the right one.
It's the one that's in blue.
Oh, yeah, I was actually going to conference you before this, so we're just going to time out here, chat. Don't listen. If you were going to spell something Syphon, siphon?
Siphon.
Close.
Siphon.
Siphon.
Why is it capitalized?
It's just read it. Just read it.
Read what's on the teleprompter.
Just read
Could you
it.
just write like normally
I-
phonetically
I
spelled
didn't
words?
know that you were
Put
going to
a
be
question
reading
mark.
this.
If you put a question mark, you know Ron's gonna read it.
God damn it. I'm not the greatest reader.
I didn't know that
Oh,
you were going to be
boy.
specifically
I
reading this
remember.
one. I
It's
decided
okay.
as we started this episode that we were going to alternate who's telling these off. So
Judge me. I don't care. Arya plays Siphon Filter in the library with The Walking Dead before escaping through the corridor. Battle above is heard in the crypts. Sandor and Beric save Arya. Dondarrion serves his purpose as they retreat and find Mel.
all right, chat. If you got the siphon filter reference, please give us a thumbs up. If you got the Walking Dead reference, thank God, because that's a pretty
Hopefully you
obvious
got-
one.
If you got the library.
Do you also know what a
Filter.
library is? Have you ever played Clue?
Well, I was thinking more Metal Gear Solid style.
Yeah,
You know, that's the one I've never played Siphon Filter, so
and
but I figured they were
really,
close.
yeah, pretty close. Spy
I
game.
get the Walking Dead
Yeah,
reference.
Abby, it's an old spy game.
Sure.
Stealth game.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, not my strong
A lot
suit.
of
That's
just
what
like
she- it's
trying
what
to
she's
go
doing.
undetected and stuff like that.
Basically. But yeah, that and some Assassin's Creed thrown in too. Glenny, I'll let you kick this one off. here.
Okay. Yeah, so this is another lull in the action somehow, in my opinion. It just seems like all of a sudden Arya's in this library, and there's just like these zombies,
It's like
white
30
zombies,
of them in here already.
and like you saw like them kind of running around like chickens with their heads cut off, to kind of approach the army and shit like that. And then all of a sudden they get in this library and they're just like meandering around. It just kind of didn't really make a lot of sense to me for whatever reason.
They were NPCs with one direct path that they had to follow.
You
Now
can-
we're
you
in
can
the
see their sight line.
We're in the library. Okay, let's chill now.
It's like trying to get into Hyrule Castle when you go around the back door. Does that one work for
Like-
you, Abby? The stealth mission? Does that help
No,
you?
I'm reading the
she's-
chat.
She's
She's
I'm
still
not even
working on
listening.
what siphon.
She-
I know what it means. I just don't know that's how the fuck you spelled it.
But I like the prophecy with Mel and like kind of the stuff that happened long ago, and was that season 2 or something like that, all coming to like fruition of basically Mel saying, okay, here's the deal, we are going to meet again at a later date, and there's brown eyes, green eyes, blue eyes that you will shut forever and shit like that. And then like, basically Mel stating that my boy Dondarrion had a purpose. That purpose has been served.
Cheers.
So cheers to
Cheers to Beric. That's really my only note here.
Dondarrion action.
Yeah.
Benj?
So Act 2, kind of going in with. I got this feeling the first time watching it felt like a horror film, and that's exactly what they were going for. Like the
Mhm.
first act was battle, second act is horror film, and you get that sense of Arya sneaking through the library, and it's kind of telling that she moves quieter than drops of blood on the ground. That they're trying to play that up, like the zombie heard the blood dripping, he didn't hear her moving, so they're playing up, her silent assassin, skills, her
Mhm.
snake skills, solid
Sowing
snake
the
skills.
seeds for stealth.
Yeah. And then the next part, when Beric and the Hound show up, basically the Beric holds the corridor. Wasn't that joke we had made or something like hold the corridor? But he gets the Jesus pose. Let him die there. But no, he makes it through the door, and it's like, yep, okay, give him the Jesus, crucifixion pose as he blocked the corridor. But I don't know, that was another little small thing. It's fine because we get the explanation from Mel later on about he died for a purpose. Okay, and I agree with it. I liked that she brought that up, and then she finalizes it with, "And what do we say to the God of Death?" And This is
Not
callback like number 4 by
Only on Tuesdays.
yeah.
No, no,
No,
no.
no, no. But this is like callback technically to verbal callback to there are more callbacks in her fighting with the bow staff and everything for that from her training, but this is callback verbal number 2 of not today, so it's again build up and then we don't see Arya again. And it's I
Ever.
liked
Never,
ever
ever.
again. Nope, she gone. She died off
Leave
screen.
Hogwarts never long bottom.
But-
Never
Leave.
return.
But it's another one that got an audible in the group we were watching with. Yeah, fuck yeah! People out of their seats cheering because you're like, where the fuck is she? But then you start thinking, where the fuck is she going? And it's
Or you
makes
don't.
got-
And you just
or you-
that's what they're playing up there. They want you to not think about it. They want you to be
Yeah.
distracted by literally everything else that's fucking going on.
exactly. So, but I mean, as a whole, I liked it because it was a lull in the action. But as they said, you need that because you do start to get battle fatigue. You start to just kind of
Not
seeing the
me.
same thing over
I'm
and
just
over again.
watching.
I'm not getting tired of eating popcorn.
True, but
Eating my face.
at a point of too much battle, you're like, okay, let's move on with the story, and this is a way
Let's
to progress
have
some of the
A
story.
siphon filter type situation
Yeah.
going on.
Exactly.
I get it for production. Like I get that for storytelling, but it's not how a real battle would work. I mean, if this is the
But it
fucking
would be
case, there
because-
is no lull. This is an unrelenting
But
fucking
it's not.
force.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not a lull. There's still action going on all around. We're just being shown a section where there's not, or
There's
there's
a
not
lull.
a massive action, and that's okay. Sometimes there's not always action going on, even when there's action
could
all
be.
around you. So I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I like the slowdowns because it does help. It helps roller coaster the emotions of the episode to where you're like highs and lows, and this one was a medium. This was like a
guess-
chain lift.
I guess this is
So-
where it's just convenient not to have emotions. Abby.
I watching her kill that like lady white, just like straight up through the
Yep.
chin. That was a good kill.
That
was a good
one,
kill.
that one, I jumped a little. I mean, like, not really like, oh, that scared me. It was like, did she just get fucking killed? Because like they
Yeah.
play it up like you don't know who got stabbed like right away.
Yeah, and I hate like scary stuff or gore. That doesn't really bother me, but that like
Jump scare.
surprise, yes, that will get me a little bit. So this one, I was like, the whole time, she's sneaking around. I'm like, fuck, there's gonna be somebody behind that. Nope. Okay, cool. Fuck, there's gonna be nope, cool. And then this one, she's finally like doing super good the whole time, and she's right there, but she already has her like gutted before it was even a problem. So I
Mhm.
was like, "Dude, she's so good.
So
Like-
innate reflex response.
Yes, so good. And then when she crawls underneath that table and you hear the blood drops and you see that guy, he is so creepy.
I think that was the guy in the like making of that they were talking about.
Yes.
He's like quadruple jointed in every
Yeah.
single
Oh,
joint.
Like a sloth.
He's like, I didn't watch
Sloth
that yet. I'll
power.
have to watch that.
He's a real
But
sloth
he's like
power.
super lanky.
A
Like he has to be
sloth
actually
power.
super lanky and like tall. And the way he oh, it was like, ugh, I don't know, weird.
You got the weeble wobbles.
Yeah. ugh. So we will wobble, but we don't
What
fall
would
down.
probably be more grosser is if he just started cracking all his joints and stuff like that. Crunch and just.
So I'm okay with the lull or whatever to like take a breath or whatever, but the sprinting through the hallway, I don't know how they kept up with her that well. She was fucking booking it. She knows where she's going.
camera
It's
guy?
the camera guy. How'd the camera
Yeah.
guy keep up with her?
Because don't they have to like run backwards if they're getting it? Like,
They're on
It
track.
could be like one of those.
are they really?
A lot
In
of
my
times,
mind,
yeah.
I'm thinking, like,
A lot of times they're on rollers.
Like at the football game where they have that camera behind it on the string or
The
whatever.
string,
I forgot
yeah,
what they call that or
The
whatever. but-
flyer cameras.
Yeah.
So there's a couple jobs that I
cam.
look
ICAM,
over
yeah.
that I would be terrible for. One would be a president. Two would be a hockey announcer. Horrible at that job. And three, because I couldn't pronounce any of their names. Can't even say
A
siphon. for my-
speller.
And three would be running backwards with a camera. I would kill myself.
A driver. Of
Not
some,
my
did you say that already?
Oh,
My only
staying in
thing
your
about-
own lane.
Staying in your own lane.
I was in my lane. It was my fucking road.
The road is your lane.
What was that, Benj?
Well, I was gonna say with the running through the hall thing, just because of the trailer, and I know they don't want to give anything away. I had my hopes up that it was something more personable to Arya to scare her than just a horde of zombies kind of falling on her. So the trailer kind of spoiled that for me a bit. But the action itself and the suspense, it was well played up. You could feel because they injured her, she had the blood down her face, so she was, weakened. She wasn't 100%, as they said in the after the episode thing. So you're feeling, you're starting to feel for Arya, like, hey, maybe there's, a chance her superpowerness might, falter.
And I think she realizes that. I mean, over the past couple, she's becoming more and more human as we've seen the last couple of
Mhm.
episodes. And when she gets hurt there, I mean, that's another kind of chink in the armor of, I'm really good at this. I'm certainly not perfect. There's still things that can get me. I'm not impervious to anything, and I have to take this shit seriously. So she does, and she gets the fuck out of Dodge. And Glenn, where do we go from here?
Feeling this. We go to space.
We go to
Goddamn,
space.
that's from a
Discovery
musical.
Reserve.
What musical is that from?
Huh?
What
musical?
Where do we go from here?
Blink,
It's
Blink
Buffy.
182.
No, Buffy. One more time with feeling. There's a song in that musical episode. Sorry. Anyway,
Okay.
That would not be a
Where do
musical.
we go from here?
I'm feeling this.
Turn all the lights down.
I'm feeling this. I think.
Big.
All right. So, battle makes its way to the Godswood as Night King attacks the castle, but is met by Jon mid-air. Drogon and Rhaegal do some damage to Viserion, knocking Night King off his mount. Drogon fails to melt the Night King. Dany retreats. Jon makes a move after the Night King. Night King raises the recently fallen to block Jon. 12 Crastersons reach the entrance of Winterfell, and dead Stark ancestors arise in the crypts. A lot goes on in a very short period of time here, and I'm gonna go first with this one. Whenever we have another big dragon fight, this is the one that I was actually thinking of, where there's like big dragon damage from one dragon to the other.
Right, rip the face off.
Rip the face off. You've
Rip
got
his head
some
off.
rip his fucking head off.
Like the Night King about to throw
Little
spear or something like
spearmint
that.
gum. And it doesn't get it, which is good. But clearly, Night's King is a Targaryen, a show Targaryen. He's impervious to fire. So, canon.
right.
I hear no disagreements. So that is canon on this show as well.
Well, I got a whole.
But
part from that.
the dragon flame doesn't work on him, which I don't think is that surprising, especially when they made such a big deal to talk about it in the big council, and they were like, "Has anyone tried Dragonfire?" And Brett was like, "One's ever tried."
Well, it worked on the whites, but
Right, which is good.
Dem walkers.
Right.
And then that shit-eating grin that he gives, like afterwards.
Yeah.
Way
That
to
is
go!
epic.
I'm sure we have a picture of that motherfucker. Yeah, here comes the
Like
fire.
nice try, bitch.
That's
Really,
The best we're gonna get.
Yeah. So I get. I'm sorry, Abby. Are you trying to
Okay.
talk? She's
the
sidelined.
cake from my favorite part of the whole episode.
All right, Abby, try one more time.
Have you guys ever seen the Crudes?
Crudes. I have not.
I'm
Alright.
aware
The
of it. but no.
Crupids?
Benji
What?
there?
The Crudes.
The Crudes? Oh no.
There's a dad in the movie, and he's got like his family, and he's terrified about dying. They're cavemen, and so when they all come through like a tragic event, he counts them off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and gets really excited because that means the grandma died. And he's like, "Yes, 5," and she's like, "I'm still alive."
Oh.
Then he's like, 6. Shit. Like,
Shit the
super
bed.
funny. That's what he just made me think of, the grandma from the Crudes.
Nice.
Gotcha.
I'm glad you had that moment.
I did. I have lots of them, I just keep them quiet because they're not nearly as cool as your video games. Losers.
At least we can spell Crudes.
I could try.
So, Night's King does almost kind of catch the dragon, right? He almost hits Drogon with a spear as Dany's retreating. And he, kind of shows that he's a bit of a pussopotamus, as I'm going to call him.
Who, the Night King?
Yeah, doesn't go 1v1 with Jon Targaryen. What the hell, man?
Why?
like I said before, like he's like basically the Terminator. Like it's his duty to go and like his goal is to knock Bran off, first. So that's what he's gonna do. And like John pretty much is being a thorn in the side for him, kind of creating that distraction. John sees it as this is my fight,
My destiny.
To have this one-on-one battle, and then it's like basically the Night King just telling him like kind of to fuck off and like here like choke on this one or whatever. I'm gonna raise up the army, suck on it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really don't think he's a Targaryen, just for the record.
Yeah.
The Night King Targaryen.
Night King Targaryen.
You remember Night King Targaryen?
Night King Targaryen. Bench.
So first note is the dance in this one between the dragons was good, but it had too many camera cuts. Just being critical here, the fight it was too cutty to where it was hard to kind of realize what was actually going on, what was happening, because they were just jump cutting, and I get it. It's a stylistic. We have to. It shows speed and
I am speed.
Thanks,
I
Lightning.
can't think of the word I'm trying to. Yeah, I can't come up with the word. But
Lightning
it shows,
McQueen is the word that you're thinking of.
what's that?
Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen. Yeah.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow. That's what you're thinking of.
So no, but I mean, it shows speed. It shows urgency. That's the one I'm trying to come up with. But it lost some of the story in there for me. Every time I've watched it, like even slowing it down to like 75%, 0.75 speed, it's still hard to tell exactly what's happening.
You're not supposed
each
to.
time. But you're not supposed to. But you should be able to tell that one of them's been injured. Kind of figure that out. And I couldn't tell until the end which one's injured and which one's this and that. But anyway, moving on to the fire blast. On the fire blast, we've seen the Night King disperse fire, like it goes around him. He walked right through it, right at the old tree or whatever with Bran. He walks right through it. The Whites do the same thing. The fire should have just gone around him, And yeah, they kind of played it up as it engulfed, but he had a force field shield. But don't go over the top of him. Let it know. Like don't leave that suspense moment where you get that smile at the end. Like Shannon says, it's like Tywin smiling.
Who
It's so
doesn't
great.
want to see that? I do.
Agreed. But it's just make it go around him. Don't have to engulf it, and it's automatically. Oh fuck! The fire's blowing at him. Just separate it. Anyway, and then the last one is all the dead. Basically, when they got raised back up, kind of waited a minute. They kind of slowly started going. It's like, why don't you start going now? Start going fast. The only ones that woke up with urgency are the ones in the crypts.
Mm-hmm.
They popped right out. We're like, fuck you, we're coming.
Well, because they knew the lull was on, so like let's be a part of this lull.
Hashtag it's lull time.
Lull time.
It's lull time. Yeah.
Hey, we're just napping.
But
And
no
we're
Ned
back.
or Lyanna Stark returns. I was kind of hoping for a headless Ned Stark bones, being
Walk out with this.
Never mind.
yeah,
Heather
walking
is-
out, because
me,
both
Ned,
sets
I'm
of bones
back
were
as a
are
white.
in Winterfell. Yeah. So I was kind of hoping to get some sort of cameo. You didn't even have to get Sean Bean. Just get a thick dude
like
with no head.
The play.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Just have that guy show up as the Sean Bean replacement.
Yeah.
People would have
It works.
accepted it.
The fermented crab guard.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Yeah, no, it's certainly whenever Night King resurrected all of the Whites around Jon, no one had any urgency to go and take Jon out, which really led me to believe, like, in my headcanon, Night King pretty much controls all of them, at least sets their autopilots, and like gives them like, hey, he sets all of their preconceived battle plans of this is
NHL 94. I got it.
I'm thinking more of like Dragon Age Origins, where you're setting like, if you come into this thing, if you get hit with a melee attack, you respond this way.
That's beyond me.
I know, it's fine. It's classic RPG stuff. But like it clearly
RPG does not mean the same thing to you as it does to me.
I know.
But yeah, that was
I know.
like what?
Classic
Got it, okay.
rocket propel grenade, Abby. You just don't get it. It's fine.
It's fine.
Um,
What the fuck is he playing over there?
But like the way they just kind of, I'm gonna use Glenn's favorite word that I use too often, dawdle. They dawdle around Jon, makes me think that Night's King doesn't give a shit about Jon, and he never really has. He's just always been, again, as Glenn says, a thorn in his side. He doesn't have to kill him.
A Terminator.
He's just like, whatever, like, fine. And like that is kind of a tell for where this episode goes. That John, that didn't really matter in the
I
end.
don't give a shit about you.
Don't really care. He got everyone
one-
there, and that was the key.
Yeah, one other note I did have, I didn't realize I had it. There's 14 total walkers. There's 11 that walk through the gate. We have, and actually, I'm sorry, it's 15 because I forgot one that Mira killed. We have had 4 dead walkers. We see 11 coming through. So I just
Man,
wanted
you're
to make
so
that.
close, so
Is-
close. I saw your count here, and I was like, you're missing 2 because there are 12 that walk through the gate here.
No,
There are.
there were 11.
There are
I've
12, my
counted
friend.
them.
I've counted them as well.
Oh,
There's one
boy.
right behind the very middle guy
Do you have a screenshot?
that you can only
John?
see for like a second.
Okay, so it
Um,
is 17 total. Or
And there's one
There's
right
one.
behind the middle guy that, as like right when this opens up, you can see him. But then ever
Okay.
since after I checked because I was like, why would there be 11 now when there's always been 12?
The 11.
That they're very up on their symbolic numbers.
okay,
They've always been focused on that for it's
Okay.
it's
'Cause
throughout the
could-
books, but um,
symbiotic friends.
So I guess my
Nothing.
question is because when we first saw the Night's King, there was 11. You know,
there
there's
were
11.
12.
He,
He's the
he
13th.
created the 12th, and he was
Oh.
13th.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying. There were 11. He created the 12th, and there was 13. So, but we've lost
I'm talking
4
about
of
he
them.
created 13. There were 12 then too when he made the baby.
That's he created number 12.
No, there were 12 in that scene with him. There was always 13.
Oh, does it really
Okay,
matter
anyway.
at this
E-
point?
either way,
Anyway,
the one that
it was just
you
one
also
I-
missed was Mira's. That was the other one that I was going to point out. But
Yeah, but yeah, I had forgotten about the one from Mira. So, but I realized that earlier from Kev's video. Actually, he reminded me. I was like, oh shit, yeah. forgot
and
about
this
that
has been Semantic Corner.
But anyway, I was counting them out because I did count 11 here, and so it was like, okay, so the 11th, and they just never replaced the one that was supposed to be the new 13th, but apparently they did.
Yeah, no, and where's like all of the other ones? Like, where's Baby Crasterson? Where's the entire Crasterson village?
Well, and we don't know how long it takes for them to turn the baby and then the baby to grow into a walker with white hair.
see what you don't know is the next episode is going to be all Baby Crastersons.
Baby
Just a
Crest,
giant
a
baby army.
documentary
It's just an army of baby White
on,
Walkers.
coming to Netflix.
Yeah, because they stopped growing. Abby, you got anything on what's going on
Yeah.
here?
I do.
Okay.
So we see him, the Night King, raise the extra dead people. I mean, not extra, but new extra people for his army. Raise them up. Do have a question, maybe a theory. Not really a theory. What if you say day before, anytime really, just like slice your wrist or hand with some dragon glass? Not enough to kill you.
It would hurt.
Just- it would hurt, but it wouldn't kill you. Would it like inoculate you? I think it would. I think they all should have cut themselves somewhere to be like
So they can't be
Cut their
walkered,
wrists.
or like what did they inoculate?
so they can't be whited after
Right.
they die. In case they
Oh.
die,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Or
Like,
like, hey,
you-
everyone
Just like a-
swallow like a chip
Like
of it.
a blood brother
Yes.
type
Get it into your
situation.
system is what you're saying.
exactly. Yeah, like let's vaccinate against getting whited. That's what I'm saying. It could work. But it doesn't matter because it's over now. But that was my thought during this. I also thought they should have had burn pits like everywhere, so they could just like start tossing their friends into them. Because who didn't see this
It's
coming?
a lot of work. You
I-
kill somebody, and then somebody dies beside.
Oh,
you.
he's dead. Stab. Like just
let me
stab him
stop
right away.
fighting real quick, and then throw him in the pits.
Right.
Yeah,
And I guess it really, begs the question, was it only the recently fallen good guys that were just raised, or was it re-raising the dead, like the re-dead, or like even if they were killed with dragon glass or stopped, can they still get up if they weren't, completely obliterated? Like some of them were, like it seems like they just pop.
If they're
Like they're
pulverized
almost like they were
enough.
putties from Power Rangers, where you hit
don't
them right,
even get me started on Power Rangers.
you hit
oh
them
my
right
god,
in the little circle on their chest, and they just boom.
Power Rangers all day long at my house. Pissed off at Big Brain Billy.
Big Brain
Always
Billy,
getting-
what a dick.
Always getting the freaking acknowledgement when it was actually Trina who came up with the great idea? Wow, Billy, that's a great idea. Kimberly, bitch, Trina just said the same damn thing. Sorry, go ahead. It was dinner conversation tonight.
Yellow Ranger
Oh, it's
power
hot.
forever.
Hot. Mm-mm.
Right. Anything else on this? We have some crypt action here. They're getting after it. Kind of it, right? All right. Benj, tell us about the next scene.
Yeah, so the Ironborn protection hold off the Whites. Fighting John is relieved by Dragonfire before heading off to protect Bran. Drogon lands and is swarmed by the dead. Jorah protects the Khaleesi. John fights his way through the castle. More Bran protection from Theon. More Dany protection from Jorah.
Yeah, my first thought here is when Danny lands and John's like, Bran, and she responds with, go ahead. Should have been like, jump on. Like, let me give you the
Right.
airlift in there. Like, let's take the dragon to where you need to go. But no, she dawdles and gets fucking swarmed. Like, if she had John on there fighting them off as they were trying to get up, like, I feel like that would have worked off a little bit better. Personally, again, picking some nits, but like, she's not gonna help him out. She's gonna force him to run through there. Like, at least like have Drogon like grab him with a claw or something and like carry him in there. Stop wasting time on the ground where the dragon isn't going to do much good on the ground, and a missed opportunity for a good dragon tail whip.
Yeah.
There was a very specific shot where they were kind of coming up behind the dragon, where a good swipe of the tail could have taken out a couple, but it was just hanging out. I don't know. That's another weapon. Watch out, Horntail. Come on.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of, like, I don't know if you've ever done this, but fallen into like an ant pile or an ant hill, and all of a sudden you look down, there's like 100 up
Mm-hmm.
your arm. It was definitely that feeling of you don't even feel him moving on you because Drogon is that big. He probably wouldn't feel a few people jumping on him until he starts getting stabby
I was gonna
stabby.
say that they were climbing up using swords.
Well, yeah, true.
I'm gonna need to
That's
make
fair.
him a baking powder paste because that shit will get rid of fire ants.
Yeah. But
Set him
it's
straight.
and so he just kind of like fuck off, mom. I got these fucking crickets on me. I gotta go. He just kind of shakes everything off, and I wasn't sure if he would be done for. I mean, I kind of felt he wouldn't be. I didn't think they would take the big badass dragon out that way, but it was an interesting scene seeing him fly off, and they were still clinging on, a lot of them. So I was like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Mm-hmm. And they
And we
were
get
certainly doing damage. Certainly
yeah.
doing damage. Abby,
Nothing.
nothing on Jorah showing up to save
Ain't
Danny.
nothing.
Oh,
Or...
we totally moved on. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing around here.
Oh,
But
it's kind of a full sequence of
yeah.
things.
So I really like that Danny, picks up the sword to defend herself. I think it's a huge oversight that she has never been, not even like trained like Arya is, but just like, hey, if like push comes to shove and you need a weapon in your hand, like this is how you hold it, or these are some good play. But she holds her own. She does great. And Jorah, I mean, what a badass.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I've always liked Jorah. I'm sorry, book readers or anybody who just hates him. I have always liked him. I don't know who couldn't, just watching the show at first. Like, the actor is just charming, and I get like he's creepy, but he's just going out. He's not doing this because some part of him wants to have sex with her. Like, he loves her and he can't help that, and is going to die for her. And she is trying her best, everything at all costs, to help him survive this too. I like them. They're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One other thing, Luke, I wanted to bring up, I think it was in the last section, but when John landed Rhaegal, it looked like Rhaegal crash landed,
Oh yeah,
and we didn't see him for the rest of the episode. So it's like I was very concerned until we saw
absolutely.
the next on, and honestly, and I'll get to the point. Never mind. On the next scene, I believe. But I was wondering where Rhaegal went, and then all of a sudden, a dragon pops up. Hmm.
Oh, you
Just the
mean
next scene. I
Viserion?
thought because I said the subtitle said Rhaegal screams or Rhaegal growls and Viserion blows fire, and so I'm like, what?
Oh, was it wrong?
No, it was like a background scream, like a background
Oh,
roar or
gotcha.
something, but like it was like, what? So it had me very confused until the next dawn.
Lenny.
Yeah, so we see John kind of realize that, oh, I need to go to Bran. Bran is like the Alamo or whatever. We all need to get back to the Alamo.
The Branamo.
The Branamo. So basically, like he's seen leaving Dany there or whatever. Even though like she was on the dragon, she ended up falling off, but at that time he had already fucking bounced.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's seen leaving Sam. He sees Sam kind of on the fritz a little bit, and like he could have just like stopped what he's doing to go help him out, but he's seeing kind of leaving him as well, and like it's just one of those things where like his destiny, and he's just trying to save the greater good.
In the words of the great James Hetfield, nothing else matters.
But and then it was so awesome because it just like it led you to believe that John's gonna come in and save the day. That's basically this whole show. Like that's what he's been doing for a long time. It's just kind of
He's
kind
been
of
the
coming
guy.
through in the clutch a little bit, but he did his best to get there, but it just didn't come to fruition. If you know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean, and it's a bit. There's a lot going on when he's kind of roaming through the castle here, trying to. I mean, he sees a bunch of people. We see Grey Worm kind of fighting off people here. Like there's a whole bunch of shit just going down. And he has to just keep going because that's his thing. It's his saving people thing, and in this case, it has to be Bran. That's the only thing that matters about this entire battle is protecting Bran, and I just don't know why they didn't have more people just hanging out with Bran all day. Like I'm cool with like protecting the castle, but like if that's like the main thing, there was a point earlier where John lands Rhaegal like on the wall of the castle, not too far from the Godswood. Could have just hung out there, like
It's like
let the Night King
like
cometh. Like let him make the move
like
and
Bubble Boy,
stop fucking chasing him.
trying to bubble around Bran.
Pretty much, and by Bubble I mean Theon and John. Like he'd probably been okay.
Yeah. Now, shout out to Theon and the Ironborn.
Absolutely.
They were going ham on them. They were getting their kills in.
Thanks.
Everybody was on target. Very few misses. But I remember thinking like when they first started, I'm like they're gonna run out of arrows.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they
Like-
have a bucket that's this wide with 100 arrows in it.
And no one
literally-
fetching more.
Like you need troughs of them. Like do you not? It's all that Benji. That was the same thing I thought.
You
I was
really
like,
need
this
the
is
Robin
such
Hood
an
Men in
oversight.
Tights 5 arrows. You pull one out, let them roll down, and you got 5. Time out,
Yeah.
honkies. I gotta get pumped.
You haven't seen The Last of Us.
Yes, we have.
You've seen The Last of
You've
Us.
seen The Last of Us.
So I think there's 2 theories that could happen here with Bran, because we do see him warging, right?
Skin changing, yeah.
So, like after the Raven thing or whatever, because we're like, is he just like in the Ravens the whole time?
Good question, Glenn.
But like the one thing I said, like he could have like warged into Rhaegal, because if you think about it, John's like a newly dragon rider or whatever. This is only his second time riding a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to be very skilled, if anything.
Certainly
so
uncomfortable still.
Right. So if Bran could have worked into him, I
Mhm.
could see that happening.
Into the
or,
Dragon.
Or what's more probably likely, he probably still doesn't trust Theon, so he kind of worked into him and just went ham.
he skin changed into Theon
Mhm.
because he's like, you know what? I'm gonna butter him up, but then I'm gonna get into him.
Yeah, this asshole's saying, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah, bullshit.
I'll
think
work into
that-
you, bitch, and protect my goddamn self.
I think that the little ravens or crows or whatever they are should have had like little pouches attached to their legs with just tiny pieces of dragon glass with like a hole in the bag, so as they flew over and they're dropping from such height,
There you go. What
they
about
could just pierce.
so? There's also the idea that they could have like dragon glass dunce caps and just go
Yeah.
like drill into the chest of the Night King as they went flying past him. He'd been like, "Oh, look, a raven!" Bam!
Have them eat dry.
And you have a whole bunch of them,
Dragon
so you
glass
have
shit.
many
And
options.
kamikaze is a valid tactic.
Kind of going
Yeah.
back to what other like
Terrifying.
early in the episode with Ghost. What the fuck good was Ghost gonna do? Did Gendry make him, some dragon glass dentures or some shit? Because that's
Right.
he wasn't gonna
Like
serve much of
snow
a purpose.
boots.
Well, I was yeah, snow boot claw was dragon glass claws, and but besides that, yeah, he wasn't gonna serve much of a purpose.
For real.
Might
Supposed to
not
be
been
part
great
of
to
the
put him on
team.
the front fucking line, with nothing.
Well, just like the Dothraki.
Like the Dothraki until Mel showed up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or have him protect Bran too.
Yeah, that
Right.
would make very good sense.
I think there should have been more than 6 people with Bran. They did a great job. All power to them. They needed some help. They needed some
How did they
fucking
do
help.
that good of a job when nobody else did?
Right. Right.
They're
Not that
skilled
they
at
did it-
archery. They're Ironborn. They are
Yeah, I
Somehow skilled at
guess.
archery. Anyway, any other thoughts on this? It's kind of just a bunch of mini scenes there protecting each other. Glenn, tell us about the next scene.
Yeah, Tyrion and Sansa hide behind a tombstone and share a moment as hell is breaking loose in the crypts. Jon comes face to face with a blind Viserion in the courtyard. More protection by Jorah. Dany pinches in. Odds are against basically all of our friends, and NK and Crastersons enter the Godswood. The end of the world is near.
First thought, Glenny. What do you got?
So I like how there's all this like dramatic music that sets in as like it looks pretty bleak for everybody. Everybody's on the fritz. And it just kind of like it gives you the viewer is like, oh, there's no hope.
Mm-hmm.
And like I kind of went in thinking that a lot of people were gonna die, like named characters are gonna die in this episode. So I was thinking like this is gonna be the demise. A lot of our favorite characters and stuff like that are gonna perish real quick or whatever, and that's gonna kind of be that or whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that music was incredible. Like it set the tone. It was dire. It was, yeah. I mean, it was beautiful. It was sweet, but like it was certainly ominous along with it. Like it seemed like you were walking into a funeral. Like, right. I mean, doesn't seem like anyone's fucking getting out of this, or like very, very few.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
As we know it, and I feel fine.
6 o'clock TV.
It was very sensory deprivation kind of thing because you're hearing one thing but seeing another. So it's
like
yeah,
that
kinda-
underwater feeling of like your
Yeah.
ears are clogged almost, but you hear the music coming through clearly.
And one of my notes, on the last part of it, that the solo pianos, it sounded familiar, like it was almost a mashup of the different themes.
There,
And I
there
know
were
I know they're
certainly
calling it the Night King theme is the title of that song. Is what later has come out, but or Night King song or something. But it felt like there was I heard some of the Stark, I heard some of the Targaryen, like there were like bits of things here and there mixed throughout, which I thought was really well done.
yeah, there were certainly, it seemed like, motifs that were at least kind of harkening back to other themes that we know, and it was really, really good, if I do say so myself.
I do declare.
Benj, what do you got here?
So it's another cute scene from Tysa, Tyrion and Sansa, and another awesome camera sequence with John again with the making behind is basically a guy with a body cam, like a full-on body cam suit, being pulled from behind as he's running backwards, as following John, and or he's first following John, then they flip around and he's leading John, and well done. I liked, the peril that John sees everybody in because we get all the main characters again, or the main fighters. We see Sam getting swarmed, and John not even, as you guys have talked about, not even stopping for him because it's the right choice. It's sorry, dude. I don't have time. There's other things. But you see Jamie and Brienne, Pod, Tormund, Gendry. They're all just fighting for their lives, and they all know they're gonna die. It's just we're just biding time. That's it. We just need time.
We just need some time.
Yeah.
Abby?
Um, where like John is like following here.
So John is in. He's kind of run through, and he's in the courtyard. This is right where Viserion lands in the courtyard, and he
Okay,
starts
well, I
dealing with
think
that.
it's after that. Never mind. I don't know. I basically your note, Luke, so I won't steal it. It's
Go ahead
pretty
and steal it.
awesome. Just like I love the way when he's like breathing fire, it's like coming out of like wrong holes
Right.
at puffs or something, and like something's coming out of like his nose or something. And I'm like, man, that guy's like really jacked up. He's gonna need a trachea quick.
Right. Yeah, and like when you
Yeah.
rewatch some of those
Yeah.
dragon fights that earlier, when Benji was saying it's kind of hard to track, if you kind of realize what's going to happen, like you see the point where Drogon grabs him on the neck and just fucking, jiggles around.
Wiggles around.
And there's also the point where he grabs on it, like he claws onto his face and rips half of his face off. And so, like that's where
Right.
when you see him here in the courtyard, because he's just flying by the seat of his asshole at this point. He's like, I can't see. I'm just here to do some
Right.
goddamn damage, because he's also, being controlled by the Night King in some way that everyone else is as well. So it's not like Viserion's doing this thinking, but he shows up, and yeah, like the fire, the bright blue lightning ice fire flying out of his neck, out of the side of his face, like it looks so cool. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, when it's also like believable. And I remember like watching the like how they done it thing after the show, and like it was all real fire that they photographed doing it, and they like made like a bronze cast of what it would look like, and then actually shot fire through it and like moved it around to get very realistic the way fire would act in those types of conditions. It was just really 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 cool looking, I thought. And John is just like so screwed. Like, I'm not gonna be going anywhere.
Just hunkered down at the moment.
Kind of just hunkered down. Dany pitching in was awesome. She's pulling her weight. She's doing everything she can.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean,
And
Yeah.
it's valid.
and that's a shout out to Amelia, the actress, because she was it was actually written for her just to stand there and let Jorah defend her. And she's like, Dany wouldn't do that. She would try something. She might not be
yeah,
that
at least
skilled, but she would
Pick
try.
something up. I
Yeah.
believe that too. I believe that of Dany. Like I thought that she was never just. I mean, basic lessons, self defense. Like not that I think she could have done really anything to help Jorah, but she wouldn't stand there. There's no
She
way.
did help him. I mean, there were. So,
Uh,
yeah. I'm not downplaying what you were saying, but
Yeah.
like she would go in knowing that she can play a part, even if she's not going to be dominating. She has a part to play, and she's not going to shy away from that.
Right. Like I can make a difference in here. Am I gonna be level because she hasn't been training for the last 10 years?
Right.
But I'll be by.
All right, Abby, your internet's a little choppy. I don't know if there's a bandwidth that you can drop or anything.
Knock off. Yeah, I can do that. Let me see what's going on with this.
Better already.
Oh yeah.
All right. Can you read our next scene for us?
Sure. Theon dispatches many whites and comes face to face with the Night King. Bran awakens to validate and thank Theon. Theon Greyjoy Stark makes a final charge to protect his brother and is headed off at the pass by the Night King. Sorry. Oh, I knew it was coming as soon as I started that one. I just did. Makes a final push, take out Viserion as Jorah does a Boromir, and Night King silently approaches Three-Eyed Raven and Arya.
Oh, say the last part just one more time.
And Arya crystallizes him.
Yeah.
Decaffeinated
go.
Colombian coffee crystals.
You're not drinking real coffee.
What?
It's more of an iced coffee.
You son of a bitch.
All right, Ben, just start us off here.
So, okay, first note is I'm glad Theon wasn't whited. There was a very nice scene between him and Bran of just Bran saying thank you and Theon making the mad rush and getting killed. And I'm just glad he didn't pop his eyes open and wake up. This was a fitting end for Theon. I want to give a shout out to Reddit user Apple Soap. I'm going to put a link in our chat here for this thread. It makes great sense if you get the time, read it. But John wasn't just randomly yelling at Viserion. It's a theory that's out there, and I love the theory, and it's my new headcanon. He spots something right before he stands up to confront the dragon. And if you listen with headphones very loudly, it very clearly sounds like he's saying, "Go, go, go." And the next shot is the
Go.
wind blowing past the White's hair, and the next one after that is Arya coming in. So the theory is that John spotted Arya, who moves silent as a shadow and as swift as a deer, and he sees her running towards the Godwood. Viserion, who's blinded, can't hear her because she's running silently, and he says, "Go, go, go," because he knows he can't make it past Viserion, but she can, and that's their only hope to saving Bran. So that's my new headcanon. I saw that on Monday afternoon, and I've fucking been in love with that theory, and I'm glad that it's getting some play. I've seen it on a few different videos and a couple articles made on it, and so just check it out. It's a great theory on there.
All right, yeah, I'll
But
have to watch that.
so,
You're saying
yeah, really quick, like I said, this whole episode has been a build of Arya's teachings between sticking with the pointy end, to the bow staff, the what do we say to the god of, or to the silent assassin siphon filter, library scene, to the what do we say to the god of death. It's all been a recap of her training throughout all 7 seasons and the build to that. And I like that. Arya's always been has been my girl, my favorite, and so I like the payoff. I mean, yeah, did I see it coming? Not really. No, I didn't think they would go that route. I thought they would go the obvious route of John, but I like the payoff.
Abby.
Well, I think it's kind of funny that like the two most like I think emotionally charged lines or um really get you in the feels lines are delivered by Bran. First when he tells Theon he's home, next when he tells him you did a good job. Like
You're a good
it's just
man.
Bran. Yeah, exactly. Like it was good. Just cool that it was him. All the Bran haters out there, check it.
Check your
And
check your
then
brand hate at the door.
yeah, not sharing it with you. Anyways, and then lastly, Arya. Like it was amazing. I was freaking out slightly, just excited. And the only complaint I will have for this entire episode, the dragons look great, I think, through the whole thing. The fire looks great. The horses look great. The costumes look great. The dead people look great. It all looks so believable. And then
Except-
there is the Night King's fucking sword.
And his nails.
And his nail is really
Yeah, his
funny.
Yeah, it looks like it's made out of duct tape or something. Something that you'd see it like what is that?
Like
It's the
my
shot
old
from
high
when-
school
from when he's
players.
walking up and you're behind him, right?
live,
And his
live
hands are kind
action
of
role
down.
playing.
That's-
LARP,
yeah.
or
LARP,
layer,
LARPing,
yeah.
But yeah, it's like when John's like following behind him at one point, you can see it hanging on his back, and I think Arya maybe, or when he's talking to Bran, maybe you can see it. It's just so like that's what stuck out to me the most. I'm like, what is up with this chintzy sword? I would have preferred them make like 5,000 actual glass or not glass ice swords.
By spider swords.
Like make come out and sculpt them. That would have been awesome. But it just looked so not real when everything in here looks so real. Disappointing. Not really, but my one small.
He needed the Sub-Zero, shiny ice sword.
But it didn't even look like It looked, like
like a
maybe somebody had
rock.
kind of peed on it a little, like like indignous,
Like an
what do you
umbrella
call
or
it?
something like that.
Like
Abby, have you ever actually had an ice sword? How do you know what it really looks like when in practical use? Come on.
I would just imagine, like have an ice sculptor
Yeah.
carve me
You mean
an ice
fake
sword.
ice? You mean manufactured ice? You mean
Yeah.
just
I mean, like
manicured
make ice
ice?
cube trays of swords. Just have sword ice cube trays. Pour some water in it. Then you have like
Like the
5,000.
way
So
they
he
make
drops it.
or the urukai or blades in Isengard, where they're just like pouring the same way they made the episode 2 swords, where they poured the 2 Valyrian steel swords. That's not how you
Yeah, just put it.
fucking make a sword.
Whatever. You put it in there. You put it in a walk-in freezer. You have disposable, actual ice swords.
Sword.
Would have been easy.
Put it in the freezer.
It is the freezer. Just let it outside.
Let's leave it outside. Yes. You wouldn't even need the freezer.
It's like
That's
when
our
it's
fridge.
under freezer, and you're like, oh, I don't have any room in the fridge for all my beer.
Leave it outside.
Put it outside.
Then you go outside to take a piss. You just grab a beer.
There you go.
But
All right, Glenn, what do you got
don't.
here? Or Abby, what do you got?
I was gonna say, but don't leave your pot roast cooling on your porch.
That's true, or else the dog down the three houses down will
3 doors down.
3 doors down from Alabama will come and eat it.
Yeah.
So,
Or Mississippi.
something that drives me absolutely bonkers in films and
Bananas.
like shows and shit like that is when like the villain takes his sweet old time to execute someone. Like he's just kind of twiddling his thumbs, and like he kills Theon and stuff like that. But then he's just like slowly walking over and then kind of like having that
Silent monologue.
silent kind of few seconds of just staring at each other before he like slowly reaches for the, as Abby's words, dumbass fucking sword that made of ice that he has. And then it just gives like Arya enough time to make a difference. And, maybe she would have done it either way, but it just like seemed like he gets into the room, or gets next to the Godswood. There's Bran.
Beeline. Just do it.
Just go. All right, yeah, I'm gonna finish the job. We don't have to have this dramatic words exchanged and stuff like that, or lack of words exchanged, I should
Mhm.
say.
If he was gonna say something, what do you think he might say there?
We need to talk.
You think that's what he's gonna say?
No, I kind of like we were talking about that the other day. Like, what should he have said? But I think like at this point, if he would have said something, it'd have been extremely corny. So I'm not mad that they didn't try to force feed words out of his mouth.
I think 99% of like what he could have said would have been cheesy. I think there's are a few things that could have been said that
Fuck you.
that could you piece of shit, you're about to die, bitch. Like, no, I'm not saying that either, but I think there could have been
You'll
something
never say.
Prepare to die.
or just
Bran
like
should-
at
Go ahead.
like something that shows these are two old souls that are meeting again for the first time in a long time, that they know each other, that this isn't a surprise.
way back.
They go way back. Something that kind of recognizes that, other than, I mean, the eye connection certainly kind of hints at that, and it gets there, I think, but I think they
Oh,
could
I
have
think
had
they're talking.
right, and that's, I think Benji had a couple good ideas about this too.
Well, like I kind of read it like, because when we were talking about that, I was thinking it reminds me of like a Charles Xavier and Magneto, very hello old friend, just something kind of similar cheesiness, but I'd be okay with that level of cheese. Or like Glenn said, we need to talk.
That was your line that you said after we watched it. We've been chuckling about it since. Glenn hated it so much. He was like, "That's like the worst line possible."
It's just been really
Well, I
cheesy.
mean,
I think.
It's
We need to
super
talk,
cheesy,
me
but
and you.
I could have seen something like that and go to black. Just hello friend, we need to talk, and go to black, end the episode. And because we've all said that we didn't think it was ending here, we thought it would continue on for another episode or so, kind of thing, with the whole Night King story. And so I could have seen them doing something like that, and I would have been okay with it. At least get one line from the Night King, get some sort of something. But nope.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very surprising on how it all goes down. But I want to kind of touch on something that Abby brought up a minute ago. I do think Bran has probably the two most, if I knew what emotions were, he hit on them closer than anything. And it's him and Theon. The two talking scenes they have with each other they're fucking brilliant. And the way Alfie Allen fucking his face after Bran says thank you, you know, and it's awesome. And here's
You're a good man.
here's to the drowned wolf. Here's Theon Greyjoy Stark. Really, really, really strong scene for sure.
Of all the like callbacks that you guys have been talking about with Arya, not talking about, they did happen. I would have been totally cool with the cheesiness of after she kills him. Just said, nice, not today. Like, I would've
Calling
loved
card,
it.
bitch.
Yeah, like that. Like, we don't have to do the whole thing. Just afterwards, not today.
Not
Or
today.
something as
A
cheesy
girl
as
kills
the stab
the
goes
Night
in,
King.
and right before he disintegrates, he goes, "Who? No one." You know, or something super cheesy like that.
A girl
I-
kills the Night King.
So whenever she drops the dagger hand to hand, right, and he kind of sees that, it just goes straight in, and they don't show like his facial reaction either. Like it's pulled away, and like his arm is up, and you can't see his face, but like, so there's never been an emotion other than that one fucking shit-eating grin. That's where it's like at least like a surprise face like could have been shown to be like, yeah, okay.
Oh shit.
Or yeah, this is the one line. You fucking kidding? Stab.
Oh no.
This is how I go out? Really?
Fucking really? Come on, Dan, Dave. This is a Benioff move if I've ever seen it.
Debbie.
But overall, really, really strong. I'm glad that Arya got the kill and not Jon. I think it was smart. I know a lot of people are really questioning it. Jon doesn't have to be the one that fucking does the final blow. He got everyone there. He united everybody. He got wildlings to fight with, you know, the Night's Watch. He got Targaryen queen to fight with to everybody to come in to fight with
schnozberries to fight with other schnozberries.
Arya would not be there had Jon not taken back Winterfell. She would not have gone back to Winterfell.
And this is why it comes back to the
Hot
most
pie,
important
hot
character
pie.
is hot pie,
cool pie.
or cool pie, or moon pie, or
cutie pie.
or cutie pie, or
pumpkin
chicken
pie.
pot
Pizza
pie,
pie.
pizza pie, or cow pie was another one.
Hair pie.
Hair pie did not get drawn up yet, but check us out on Instagram for more on that string of pies, if you will. So we are going to roll into our final scene. Each episode we have one of these. I think last episode was called a vaginal scene, but
Vagina.
this is just a regular final scene. So cheers to everyone in the chat
Cheers.
and listening in podcast land. So final scene. The aftermath of the battle is felt by all. As dawn nearly breaks, Melisandre heads into the field to die of natural causes. Right that up. I'm still chuckling.
Really tickled yourself
I
with that one.
kind of did. I was happy about that one. It may have been Glenn said that. I don't know. It still made me chuckle. So yeah, we kind of see this shock after Night's King gets crystallized, liquidated, if you will. We have this kind of shockwave of de-whitedness, like it kind of goes off in a wave, right? It's not like they all just drop, right? It's very much like when Sauron gets killed at the very opening scene of Fellowship of the Ring, and they have this huge shockwave and like knocks everyone over. But right when we were watching this, I think it was like right afterwards, I was like, Glenn, what if the Night's King had a couple whites over in Essos? It's gonna take weeks for them to be knocked down, just because it's gonna take some time for that magic to wear off.
The whites are just on the beach.
Just sipping their guava smoothies. Oh no! They see the tidal wave coming. What?
Oh shit.
When I read your note here, Luke, I thought you were making a joke, and it was saying it was a shockwave of like de-white or like delighted, but de-whited. Some funny voice to me. I don't know.
Shockwave
It
of
makes it up here.
delighting.
Yeah, like
and that
of
also applies.
delightedness.
Every time you have a
De-whitedness.
shockwave of de-whiting, you also have a shockwave of delighting that follows.
Yeah, that's where I thought we were going with
leftovers. It's like, oh, I'm
much
so
funnier in my head.
delighted. Look at all the delighting we're having.
Yes. exciting.
Oh man. And Jorah falls and goes down swinging. So cheers to the bear and his maiden fair. And
Here they stand. Here he stands.
so Jorah gets liquidated and goes out on a pretty strong note. Gets a little dragon hug. Pretty sweet scene.
Little dragon snuggle.
I think that Amelia Clark's like performance here is one of her most like believable that I've ever seen.
He cries pretty well.
Yeah.
She does. Like it's pretty good. Pretty good.
What else you got here, Adam?
Pretty good.
So Melisandre goes and dies.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why?
your point. Because
Why?
her job is done.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess. I don't sure.
She's
It
really,
made it-
really old.
Yeah. I
Do you know
guess
how
she met
tired
death
she
as a
is?
friend. No, she has a necklace. She's fine. Get over it.
Just because she looks great. Which, for the record, Carice Van Houten looked awesome in this episode. When that fire goes up at the trench and it shows it in her
Oh, in the
eyeball, like,
eyeball,
oh man,
yeah.
it was so cool looking.
Steen.
Oh, I guess cheers for Melisandre as well. Red Witch.
Melisandre, we got the little bear, we got Mel, we got Ed, got Jorah, and we got Beric. So, all right.
So
Cheers.
she just was like, "This is what I was meant for, and now I'm cool with dying." I just didn't know if it was like part of the like some sacrifice. Like I'll make a deal with you. Let me do this or whatever, and then I can die. I don't know.
I was saying
News to me.
they needed like the Hunger Games, like whenever, like at the end, when everybody dies, just like the cannons going off and just like the on the top of the screen, just everybody who died, what district they're
District
from.
That would take
7.
like for this episode alone would take probably 7 or 12 days. It's like a name every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you know that somebody dies in America every 3 hours by being struck by a train?
Fucking wild ass trains. Are they
The train
Jojen
came out of
trains?
nowhere.
That train came out of nowhere. It's literally on tracks.
Sorry, I had to just
Sorry
throw
if
that in.
anyone listening has had a loved one killed by a train. I cheers to that person. Sorry, we're not
But
making light of that
no,
situation.
No, that is an astonishing
Well, that's
statistic.
on average. That's like saying a car full of like 5 people get killed by a train, then you're covered for 15 hours.
That's
so
still one day,
A bus.
True.
and there's still more coming. Like that's a lot of people.
Luckily for everyone here, we have Top Shelf Fandom who's going to protect us because he has killed a train.
Thank you.
Offsetting penalties, you are awarded no yards.
The Jojen train would never run anybody over. I'm just
Jojen.
saying.
No, it would just lay there.
Jojen. All right, Glennie, what do you got here?
I have Let's Go Sunnin'.
Let's go, son.
So that's basically in reference to what's it, like a song from the Fallout games, but it's also reminiscent here. I don't know if you got a picture, but end of the battle, and all of a sudden you see the sun start to peek out. Melisandre gets laid to rest. The sun's starting to peek out, and I think it's just pretty reminiscent of the battle's won, and now there's a new day, kind of a rebirth, if you will.
A new dawn, new day.
Same thing.
Talk about a brand new day. Yeah, the
Yeah, and
sun coming out. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
And I thought it was fitting to let Davos be the to witness this, so it's not like Mel just vanishes. Somebody sees
where'd she come
her.
from? Where'd she go?
Where'd you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? And so it's like, but it's fitting too because he wanted to kill her for everything she's pulled, and so he gets to see her die. He can confirm she gone, and so it's like, okay,
He doesn't have
cool,
to be a liar.
yeah, exactly.
We're a king liar. Anyway, for that reference that no one here will get, that's okay. Yeah, Ben, you got anything else here? You just the Davos thing.
Davos thing. Yep.
Yeah,
I liked the Drogon cuddles. That was
Yeah,
cute.
Oh yeah,
sweet.
that was good.
I'm glad that Mel was able to finish her mission. You know, I can see why Abby would be confused on it, but like I definitely think it's the same thing that she said about Barrick is he's served his purpose. She's always been the tasked with, you know, taking out. I think the show is going to basically somewhat simplify this on being take out the great other. Like this is they are just mashing Night's King with great other symbolism together in her religion. So she's literally she's won. She's won the holy war. She can go die now.
My only thing with Mel is where the fuck did she go for the last 8 episodes or 7
Atlantis.
episodes? Where? Yeah, why? She did not. She like I was thinking she would come back with like a crew of red priests and do that kind of thing. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
there was served no
Cleric.
purpose to make her go away. You know, she could have just hung around.
Right, or at least like yeah, like a group of red priest clerics to show up and like revitalize, like teach them that like yeah, we actually can resurrect people, and like hey, guess what? They can resurrect people. We can too. This battle's never gonna end.
Kind. I mean,
But
kind of. But
I mean,
yeah,
at least to help out. Yeah, I think that'd have been valid for sure.
yeah. She was in Valance learning the fiery hand trick. True.
All right, I think that pretty much wraps us up on this episode title accuracy: The Long Night. Glenny Dog.
What about it?
Like it? Don't like it? Fitting?
Sure.
Sure. Sure. Glenn. Ben.
So the long night was a night. Okay, it's fine. It's fitting. It works. It's again nitpicky, but it 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 works. It was a long. It seemed like a long evening.
Ab.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with it. I mean, that's as close as we're gonna get to seeing a long night.
The problem here, folks, is old Nan giving us like the wrong information about what the long night is. She set us up to believe that it was going to be much longer than it was.
Blame old Nan and the Maesters.
Yeah, they
God damn it.
just lie into us, just like you do to all your kids.
Gray
you know? Lie
rats.
to them. McDonald's is closed. Sorry, we can't go.
All right, episode. I think it's pretty solid.
I do too.
Episode title. Episode description. I'm gonna go with just the one that Abby provided, which is better. Brienne and Jamie prepare the armies for battle. Way more than just Brienne and Jamie do, but sure, they certainly pitch in. Like, not taken away from them. They weren't in this episode that much. Like,
That's all they did.
I mean,
but
Grey
sure.
Worm seems to be pretty prepared. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
he set up preparations A through G. Luckily, everyone else delivered for preparation H. Arya is desperate to prove her worth as a fighter as the dead draw near. Sure, I don't know if she's really desperate to prove herself. I think she's just ready to like do her fucking part. That's how I take it, at least. Like she knows that she's good at this, and here she is.
I don't think she wants validation or needs validation from anybody. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
I don't see her being the person like, ooh, let me get out there so John can witness me doing this. I think she knows what she's capable of. It doesn't matter what other people think. I think she could beat John hand-to-hand combat.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Maybe that's all the next longest episodes ever are going to be about, is just one-on-one fights. Like, hey, these are your favorite characters. Let's see them do a big melee tournament. That's all it's going to happen.
No.
And they're going to have exactly 70 more glasses of wine, and I'm going to hit that prediction perfectly.
70 more.
Yeah, I predicted 81 because we are certainly getting some feasts.
Well, we are going to King's Landing, so.
Yep. All right, least favorite thing, Glenny Dog.
Lulls in the action.
Lulls in the action. Yeah, I could buy that. Ben.
Lack of crypt whites. I wanted a headless Ned, a Lyanna. We got a crypt white that popped out. That was about it.
There were a bunch down there.
There were a bunch that we didn't see. Like it was like very like shadowy and like
I know how expensive it is to shoot in a crypt.
They did it for a week, and we got what we got. So it's fine. If I had to pick, there's very few things I disliked in this episode, so I had to pick one. Or something. Fucking lack of crypt whites.
Abby, least favorite thing?
The Night King's terrible sword.
Yeah. Just that, just sad prop.
That's it.
Yeah, like the thing is about it, like everything else to me looked so amazing and believable and fantastical without taking me out. Like, I still felt like this was like a real story. And then I'm like, and there's a sword that we won at ring toss. Cool. Not cool.
Yeah, my least favorite thing is a bit like Glenn's, but it's like the seeming lack of continuity between where the front is happening. Like it just seemed like, oh, it is everyone's up against it, and it's just the line is thinned, and we're having to retreat and pull back, and then we're doing that for like 8 minutes, and then we show this pullback shot where there's like no whites like up at the front line of the Unsullied, who are doing a good job. I mean, certainly nice job holding the line Unsullied, but it's like where how'd they push back? Like it just doesn't really hold up. And then there are certain times later on where it's like, well, how did they get into the library? Like they hadn't really breached anywhere to get in. Like
they don't have a library card,
and they didn't.
They were after
they haven't
Sam, for
read
sure.
Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll, Jekyll.
they have
God, I hate you.
they have late fees that they have to pay.
You gotta pay that quarter, man. You gotta pay the quarter.
Jekyll, Jekyll,
In the
Hyde,
library.
Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll.
KDW.
Dorothy Winifred, come on, pay your late fees. Is that the first Arthur reference we've had this today?
Oh,
Probably just today.
man.
We've had it before, I know. Favorite thing?
Did I say, hey?
What a long
Hey!
night kind of day.
Hey,
AARDVARK.
Oh,
That's how I know how to spell
the
Arbor.
brain, best character, him or Buster Back.
Buster Baxter went away and he came back.
All right. Favorite thing for me, Theon and Bran, along with Night King and Bran, kind of that whole
Rigmarole.
hubbubaloo, as Glenn would say.
Is Glenn say?
Well, yeah, you were saying that over the weekend.
I've said it before.
You've said it
I've said a word before.
Yeah, recently. But yeah, I really liked Theon and Bran's interactions here, and I liked the way Night King came up on Bran and stood there for a second, because there was kind of big, huge historical weight behind what was going on. And yeah, it's kind of tropey to have your villain take that time, but I thought it was well done. I thought there was a lot going on between those two characters at the time. Abby.
I'm just gonna go with Arya. She's my favorite thing. Good job, Arya.
Nice job being Arya. Bench,
Mhm.
favorite thing.
So the echoes of everyone's past, most importantly of all, Arya's training coming to fruition. We're seeing and I just mean myself talking about all episode with her, from the beginning with the sticking with the pointing at everything we saw with Arya is stuff we've seen her learn, and I just like that it built up to the culmination it did.
Can I also add one point? Because I'm agreeing with him. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought of a better thing than just I love Arya. But I do love Arya.
She's so
I liked
cool.
that. Yeah, she's so awesome. But, I like that this kill here doesn't feel to me like, oh, like we should give it to
We are the
Arya
champions, my friend.
because she's a girl and we want to be like on the right side of women, whatever. I don't feel like the choice is made as like a political statement or it just makes sense. Arya could do this. There is no like question about it at all. It doesn't matter if she's a woman or young or anything. Like she has the training and they gave it to her, and I love that she also has the accolades to back it up.
The only reason she could possibly have been this super powered over time is for this one specific reason.
Right.
Like that's the only thing that justifies how ridiculously overpowered she became
Right.
so quickly, even though it felt like it was long. But still. Glenny, favorite thing?
So I like definitely the build up and Arya taking out, as Luke would say, the Night King. So yeah, Lucas said the Night King before, so we're just gonna give it
Credit where debit is due.
sure.
All right. Glenn, what's your house name?
Glenn of House Dog.
Your house words.
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
House sigil.
A DOGG with a hockey jersey on.
Your occupation in the realm.
We are Millers.
Personal Twitter.
At Popsicle Sand.
Final thought.
This is just your classic, everyday, run-of-the-mill season 8, episode 3 of a Game of Thrones that you're gonna find out there in the woods.
So thumb up or thumb down on the episode?
Run-of-the-mill. I liked it.
Okay. Ben, house name.
Slive, House McLean.
House words.
It's dangerous to drink alone.
House sigil.
3 black triangles on a red balloon.
What's your occupation in the realm?
I am the headsman to my liege lord. I put out in my normal time. I'm a kennel master.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you need to be the headsman? It's a little
Exactly.
few
I
and
mean, it's kennel master for the most part. Headsman part time.
there you go. Personal Twitter.
As Sly McLean.
And your final thought.
Final thought is I struggle with this episode because as a show watcher, it was great. It was a lot of action, a lot of good storytelling for what they chose to tell. But as a story as a whole, it's hard for me to hit on if I absolutely love it. I'm giving it a solid 9 out of 10 for an episode. I just can't determine where I want for the actual story. Like, I'm happy with what they chose. I'm excited to see where it goes. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Abby, house name.
I am Gertie of House Condescension.
House words.
We don't quit.
House sigil.
It is a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black, up-pointed chevron.
What is your occupation in the realm?
I am the mother of drains.
Your personal Twitter.
At Go Home Gertie.
And what is your final thought on this run-of-the-mill episode 3 of season 8 Game of Thrones?
My final thought is doo-ba-dee-dee-dee-doo-doo. Dee-dee-dee-dee-doo. Yeah, that's it. I specifically took notes. It's not right.
It was Arthur.
That wasn't Arthur. That was
It was
I
Doug.
wasn't seeing
It was
if maybe
Doug,
we
sorry.
could pick that up.
Doug Funny.
Doug Funny.
And I said,
Doug.
hey,
Hey!
what a
Doug.
wonderful
Yeah.
kind it is.
So I specifically took just like highlighting notes as I was going because every time we rewatch these for these episodes, I feel like I get really nitpicky, which I did second watch, third watch. Like Benji, I loved it. Like at first it was great, and then when I start trying to think through, well, kind of anticlimactic, I guess. Like, well, that was it. Like that's all I'm gonna get with the Night King. Now it's done. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. They just got me questioning, I guess. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but and we only have 3 episodes left. What else can happen?
Yeah.
We
Good
gotta
question
go
there,
King's
Gertie.
Landing.
Good question from Gertie. So I am Lucan of House Blackmead. House words are ours is the drink. House sigil is an obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background. Our occupation in the realm, we are mead makers. And you can find me on Twitter at Luca Ferocious. Final thought, I have kind of gone the reverse. I've enjoyed this episode more and more as I've rewatched it. The first time through, I was hung up on a lot of, well, this is unnecessarily confusing, and knowing where it goes, have kind of figured things out a little bit better. Obviously, I'm still frustrated a little bit by some of the lack of continuity that's going on, but I don't know. I'm pretty forgiving, I think, and I just I've more and more enjoyed watching this episode, just knowing that, guess what, it's not over. And I'm gonna go and say there could be more going on in the north than just, hey, let's celebrate and go take on Cersei. We have the 3 longest episodes of all time coming up. I don't think this is a satisfying ending for what the fuck the Night King was up to. I'm not saying we'll talk more of that if we get to do a predictions episode coming up, but I think there's more to this story, potentially about where Bran took those ravens, where he was working to all episode long.
Can I ask one thing?
You
And it's
sure
not a
can.
debate. Are there still children of the forest alive?
Not that we really know of. The only ones that we really knew of seem to have been in the cave with Bran and Three-Eyed Raven at the time, and sacrificed themselves protecting that.
There
But
could be
we
more-
don't. There could be. We just
More
don't know.
chillins.
More chitlins of the
Chitlins
forest.
of the
Those who sing the song of wind and storm and earth and fire and all those things. Become a patron to get all sorts of cool stuff, like stickers and things. If I owe you a sticker, let me know, because I probably owe you a sticker. And learn more at patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all of the ways you can help keep our beer bank full, please check out thepodcastthat.com/support us. One final bit of housekeeping we need to take care of is the Dead or Alive form that most people that I saw in the chat here had filled out. Quick tally up on that. So the way it worked, there were 31 questions. It was 30 character Dead or Alive predictions, one prediction of who's going to win the battle, and then 2 character locks. One lock for a death, one lock for a survival. So 31 total points possible, with a bonus point if you got your lock for either one. So most number of points goes to our good friend LMR. He got 28 points. We had a tie in second place with 27 points of Chrissy of Old Stones and Otilla Angel. And then it goes down the list. Samantha got 25. Mike the Magic Carp got 25. The Imagination Realm got 24. I the Greyhound got 24. And Nick Webb got 24. The bottom of the list, 17 correct. Mr. Narrow C himself. Riley, our good friend. Sydney got 17. Cindy got 18. Another friend of the show, Dick Push, got 18 as well. We had a tie after that at Forrest Blurda and Alex Sellers with 19. And then a whole bunch of other people. If you're curious, the overall points percentage that was, let's see, hold on, no, that's the max. 90.32% is what LMR got. I had some overall percentages put together. But for like people guessing which character would be dead more than anybody, I think Franzion Royce got 13.8% of people that got it correct. Most people thought he was going to die. He didn't, as far as we know. Most people thought Danny would be alive. But I can share these stats in another realm here because Glenn's he's giving me the cane to get off the stage. But thank you guys all for filling that out. It was a lot of fun. I'll post those somehow with some fun infographics and things. Follow us on Twitter to see those at Know and Drink, or on Instagram at Know and Drink as well. Send us a digital raven to knowandrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments here on iTunes or here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can see when we go live next. And until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter came, and I did too.
And as always, stay imaginary. Thanks, guys, for being here.